各位观众，如果有需要国语翻译的，请到后面问我们的同事拿一个翻译耳机，谢谢。Thank you.
Hola, hola, muy buenas tardes, señoras y señores. Les ofrecemos en la reunión de esta tarde un servicio de interpretación simultánea del inglés al español. Entonces, si desean escuchar en español, diríjanse al fondo del auditorio. Hay una mesita ahí con una técnica de sonido, con los dispositivos de audio, donde podrán, recogerlos para escuchar. Gracias.
I will turn the meeting over to do a roll call. I'm going to ask our Vice President, Len Silverman. Testing 1, 2. Can the people who are on the
Right. The roll, if it's meeting with the board, please,
Here.
as a whole,
Here.
to have everyone. Here. So, the law is excused, more line,
Here.
so Patel. Jessica Savage. Sarah Shire. Sabrina, Service excused, here, Cody Swanson.
Here.
Maya, Jason. And I was in here for this night. We 1, 2, 3. Ryan, numbers in the rest of them. Thank you. wait for people to come in if we want to be able to hear each other. So just to confirm, I did receive emails as the administrative assistant from both Charles Love and Sabina Serenis, so they will be excused. I'm now going to turn this meeting over for a few moments to Rebecca Rosado from ACE, the DOE Office of Family and Community Engagement. Rebecca will be meeting the meeting norms tonight. Rebecca.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca Rosado, and I am the Senior Director of the Governance Team at the Office of Family and Community Empowerment. Before we begin today's council meeting, I would like to address a couple of important points to ensure a respectful and productive session. I would like to thank the council for the opportunity to speak before your meeting begins. Firstly, I kindly ask all members of the audience and council to maintain decorum throughout the meeting. This includes refraining from interrupting speakers and fellow council members by shouting, cursing, or yelling as they are trying to speak. These actions interrupt and prolong the meeting and does not give each speaker the opportunity to be heard. Additionally, the safety of everyone in attendance is paramount, and as such, safety agents are on hand to support. Secondly, while the meetings are subject to open meetings law, which promotes transparency and public participation, we must also respect and safeguard the privacy of our youth participants. Therefore, while legally we are allowed to, we humbly request that no one records nor photographs students during the meeting. This measure is in place to protect their privacy while allowing them to freely engage in the public comment section and other proceedings. Thank you for your cooperation and understanding. I turn it over to the chair to begin the meeting.
Thank you. And I will encourage council members to listen to the speakers, and that thing that goes a long way. So we'll move on to the presentation of resolutions. Start with resolution 272, resolution to affirm CEC2 support of NYCPS's guidelines to support transgender and gender expensive students, and rescind resolution 248. Would a council member like to speak on this? Council member, back at Aaron.
But over the years, 6 members of this council and committee have been calling for resolution 248 to be rescinded. For over a year, they've shown up, spoken out, and made it abundantly clear that resolution 248 does not represent our values. It does not represent who we are or who we aspire to be as a district. And most importantly, it causes real, especially to our youngest students who don't fit someone else's idea of no. This resolution rescinding 248 is not just about undoing harm, it's about renewing our commitment to the D2 community. It's about saying, but clearly and publicly, that every student belongs here exactly as they are. And it's about finally turning the page and moving forward with compassion, inclusion, and integrity. Let's do what we should have done a long time ago and rescind resolution 248. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll just note that Janice Stillman has joined us to represent us. Next resolution is resolution 273, resolution to amend Chancellor's Regulation A660 to mandate citywide PTA revenue share. Does anybody wish to speak on this resolution? Councilmember Gill.
Yeah, I think to help the people on Zoom hear me, I'm going to unmute for a moment on Zoom if that helps the sound a little bit better. I hope we don't get any interference. Thank you. First of all, I want to just correct some kind of misinformation about this resolution. This resolution is about starting a conversation on more equitable PTA funding models. There are about 1,800 schools in New York City, and I think perhaps the majority of them do not have a functioning parent association or parent-teacher association. Of those that do, most of them raise less than $1,000 per year. But we also have schools that raise several $100,000 each year. And quite a few of those schools are here in District 2. And so I think it makes sense to try to find a way to share some of that largesse with the broader community. And we know that PTA funding will never make up for the failures of our state, city, and federal government to fully fund public education and social services. And that's not its intention. But this is one place at the parent level where fundraising work could be coordinated more efficiently and more equitably. I recognize that there's a certain vagueness to this resolution. We're not trying to impose a formula on all PTAs with this resolution, but rather just to put a framework in place to come up with ways that as a community that we can come together and share ideas and resources and to talk about how to better share those resources. Well, thank you.
Thank you. The next resolution is resolution. Again, the Office of Family and Community Engagement, also known as FACE, their management of the Community Education Council elections and to demand an immediate review and reform of the election process. So the council member wishes to speak on it.
Yeah, awesome. So first of all, I want to say, I know that we have some base representatives here tonight, and one resolution sounds pretty drastic, in my how it's worded, but just bear with me. Again, we're just trying to improve the process. So, for those who don't know, base oversees the CECD elections and ton of money. I don't know exactly what, we're talking about a lot of money goes into the base budget for elections. This year, there were numerous problems with the administration of this election. There was a working group that was convened to discuss the election and what improvements was to be made, but that wasn't convened until December, 1 month before the application period ended. Many candidates did not understand what the council did. Many did not submit candidate statements or participate in the forum. Many who did participate in the forums didn't actually talk about anything that needs to be done. Within the forums, there were issues, for example, since CHS and 2 nights of speakers, someone spoke on both nights and wasn't stopped. When the voting over, the ballots had numerous errors where they had to stop several hours waiting to start a break, which was confusing to people that were able to. Ballots continued to be incorrect. On CC1, for example, someone was left off, and after a week of voting again had to be restarted. There were guidelines, and several violations were reported, with no response to those accusations in a timely manner. I just want to comment on that specifically briefly, because I can tell you, and I don't have any skin in this game because I was not ranked, but some of the things that I saw were absolutely atrocious and basically slanderous. Some candidates were called to remind them to vote, so there's now a question of who has access to the data and what they can see. Can FACE see who voted for who? As a result, there needs to be a comprehensive investigation over FACE and their administration of the election. There needs to be an audit to make sure the election results are correct. There needs to be new oversight over FACE for elections, or perhaps getting someone from the outside to conduct elections going forward. So that's what this resolution basically proposes. Again, we really think the process can be improved, and that's what we're trying to do with this resolution.
Thank you. We have no program presentations tonight. So do you have the list? Okay, we're going to wait a second because I know people are still filling out the list. If you would like to speak tonight in either the first or the second public speaker session, please sign up by the piano. Victor will help you. Just give us another minute.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Gavin, I'm mute.
Yeah, that's what I did for you. That's what I did for you.
That's what you. Yeah. Thank you.
And I'm going to get them a computer. So.
Okay, really good point. That's
Okay. you want to read the name? Victor, are you going to help by the mic? Yeah, thank you.
Well, I've been nominated to read the name, so I apologize because handwriting is really bad. I think our first speaker is Yatin. And then we're going to be followed, Yatin will be followed by Annabelle Ruggiero and Christian Clifford. If you hear your name, just be prepared to speak. How much time are you?
2 minutes.
And each speaker will be given 2 minutes.
Good evening, CECD2. My name is Dr. Bushu. I'm a public school parent. I am speaking in opposition of Resolution 273. I do not support the pooling of mandatory divesting of one school's PTA funds be shared with other schools. This presents serious legal and logistical obstacles, which I won't address in my comments tonight. What I do want to point out is that all public schools should be funded so that our students receive high quality academics, enrichment, educational trips, and after-school programming, usable furniture, storage lockers, and musical instruments in good condition. The fact that parents, most of whom are stretched with their own livelihoods and family responsibilities, feel the burden to raise additional funds by these is not right. And now we're suggesting that what they raise will be allocated to other schools, shorting what is needed at their children's. Successful PTA events are not only raising money, but the events become part of the culture of the school and builds community. Taking funds raised by parents in one school to give to another will dampen the motivation of PTAs. Mandating redistribution will decrease the overall fundraising efforts across all schools and weaken the community and bonds among public school parents. Lastly, for the generous and philanthropic members who sponsored this resolution, there's absolutely nothing to stop you from volunteering your time or donating to PTAs of other schools you want to help. Please vote no on Resolution 273. Additionally, I want to wholeheartedly support the Resolution 274, condemning FACE in how the recent CC elections was run and demanding a review of the election process. My advocacy group, Place NYC, urged a halt to the election on the first morning of elections when a number of parents noticed errors on their ballots. A week later, during the election, I reported an unethical action of the CECD2 candidate. Thank you.
I realize that you said time. Are you going to say that when other speakers? I mean, we have to be fair. So we've given extra time to other speakers, so. People are allowed to finish sentences and thoughts. We've agreed to that. That's what we've done. So let's at least be consistent. Annabelle Ruggiero.
So right here, oh, he's right there. So at the first meeting I spoke at, I had the chance to speak with you. Your main issue with 269 was based on your adherence to proceduralism. You thought it was inherent, it was improper to rescind a resolution. Next meeting, I had asked you publicly to attempt to compromise the sponsors of 269. Today, we have 272 with the same clause that you objected to. Without knowing what happened behind closed doors, I can't know why the clause you object to is still present. But I think you can make inferences based on your public actions. 2 months ago, you took the lead on correcting the reported absence of your political allies in the school. Yet, you didn't even go as far to ask your friendly absent allies to pick the slide. You simply provided procedural cover to your political allies without demanding them to hold the same oath you hold to that percent. And now we have 274, where you're presenting face of how they handled the CEC elections. It's not lost on me that the co-sponsors include Leonard and Danielle. Last meeting, Leonard attempted to unilaterally shield 268 from being voted down. A face representative pointed out that this was improper. Danielle, on the other hand, is one of the board members who has developed a habit of ducking out before votes. Don't get me wrong. If the resolution recounting how face handled election is correct, you do have reason to be angry. However, this resolution just needs your attack. Great. Since you said that you'll never forget my face at the first time I spoke to this board, I know it's likely you'll remember this. I had hoped that you were a reasonable, just person. But based on your actions, I can infer that your adherence to proceduralism is due to its utility as a political weapon. In doing so, you helped undermine this board's adherence to a core tenet of liberalism. The primary role of elected officials is to enact the will of the people. While I am disappointing you, you still have time to correct your mistakes. Either way, though, the will of the people shall reign to given beyond. Thank you.
Christian Clifford. Kristen, I'm sorry.
Hi, my name is Kristen Clifford, and I am the proud parent of two trans kids who have gone through the New York City public school system. My children have attended PS3 in District 2, Stuyvesant, and I am a parent of a student in District 2 at this moment. My children have hugely benefited from the Department of Education's support of trans kids. My children have benefited from their teachers and their principals and their guidance counselors and their peers supporting them and loving them through their transition. I ask that this council protect all trans kids. I ask that this council protect all New York City kids, all students, trans kids, immigrant kids, BIPOC kids, disabled kids. I am in support of Resolution 272. I ask that you rescind Resolution 248. I'm also in support of 273, where we should be sharing PTA funding. My children have benefited from schools that have a lot of PTA funding, and we have shared as a PTA, sometimes we have shared our PTA funding with other schools. I wish all schools were funded. I rely on my children's teachers, guidance counselors to keep my children safe. I want a community education council that listens and cares for all students. I would also like to note that this is the first time that most of the people on this council have actually looked at me. Thank you.
We're going to have a project that looks like Omar Vera, also like Joe Vitale and Karen.
That is me, you just read. Good evening, my name is Omar Vera. I was a student in the New York City school system for 13 years, back from the late 90s to 1997, all the way through. I graduated from high school in 2010. So yes, so it's been a while. And I need to mention here that this council specifically has got to change. Because what you did when you approved Resolution 248 March of last year, you're basically saying trans kids aren't human. Like, WTF is wrong. What is wrong with everyone? Like, not everyone, but a bunch of people. And it's really sad. To quote a famous politician one time, but modified, trans rights are human rights and human rights are trans rights. If you don't rescind this resolution, one day this group is going to vote to vote all the responsible people out. And also, no more walking out in the middle of the session. If you're in the council, you stay here to the end of the council. And I hope people here are paying attention. Because like I said, because there's certain people who like to bend the rules so that when no, this is not work. With great power comes great responsibility. You better start acting like a true council, or else y'all gonna fail. And for this council to approve that resolution in the school system where I grew up, that's just a travesty. Change your ways, or everyone shall vote you out. Thank you.
Next we have Joe Vitale.
Hi, once again, my son was reading that to me. He says CIS equals can't imitate sex. And I can see that the person named Elena Daniels
is right now instructing her groupies, or those that are groomed by her, to be disruptive and disrespectful as usual. I have said this before, I am a female athlete who has been sponsored. I am dedicating my speech today to 14-year-old student Annalie Wilson, who had her medal stolen in her competition from a biological male who was competing in her sport. She asks that adults do the right thing to make girls' sports fair and safe. It is not safe for students like Annalie Wilson to have biological males competing with her. It is not safe for students like Annalie Wilson to have biological males changing in locker rooms with her. What about her comfort? I'm here, of course, to support Resolution 248 and to support Resolution 274. Thank you for that one, too. Please let the minutes reflect everything that I support and everything that I oppose, because the minutes are not accurately reflecting what I support and what I oppose. I oppose 271, I oppose 270, and I oppose 272. And in terms of keeping on bringing up rescinding 248, Gavin, that's impossible because 248 has already had its life cycle. So you are essentially harassing the panel. And in terms of harassment, there was a resolution that purportedly was about harassment, but nobody had anything to say about the harassment of Maud Marin or Allison when they were trying, and their egress is being prevented. How about that, Sonal?
Next, we have Karen Wood, that's going to be followed by Goliath and Morris, and looks like Bryce.
Hi. I am a parent of 2 District 2 graduates, and maybe I shouldn't be here because my kids are not K through 8 anymore, but I still live here and I still care. So that's why I'm here. And I just want to, hopefully, if it's one person I can give a different perspective to, I'd be so happy. I doubt it, but I'm going to try. Resolution 248, what did it say? It said, are we so sure that people with male bodies who, whatever they think in their hearts, should they be in female sports? Should they? I don't know. Let's think about it. That was what the resolution said. Is it possibly unfair to females who are competitive in sports? Is it possibly, when it comes to contact sports, unsafe? I don't know. Let's think about it. Is that evil? I don't think it's evil. And I'm also going to say, I don't think it's evil to question any of the things that you people believe. These are beliefs. We're allowed to question them. It doesn't make anyone evil if they question them. Perhaps letting young boys and young girls who are different, perhaps same-sex attracted, whether they know it yet or not, perhaps autistic, perhaps just quirky and unusual, perhaps letting them live in their healthy, intact bodies until they grow up might be a good thing. So some people think that if a child says, I'm not going to pull my body, you should immediately say, that's true, you should be body. Let's change it, honey, because I love you. Well, maybe some people who love their children don't think they should change their bodies. Is that evil? That I just wish that somebody would consider that it might not be evil to question that, and it might actually be a good thing to question whether medically changing children's bodies is a good thing. Is my time up? All right, thank you, thank you.
Hello, my name is Calliope Cabanas. I'm a junior at Stuyvesant High School here in District 2, and I'm the co-president of our GSA, Spectrum. And I'm here again to urge this council to repeal Resolution 248 and protect trans NYC school students like myself. I'm here again, and I hate being here, and I hate being here because I know that while most of this crowd here is looking at me as the whole human and girl that I am, others see me and they immediately start thinking about what is under my dress. And if that's you, please reconsider your life choices. It's weird, it makes me uncomfortable, makes everyone uncomfortable. I'm 17, I'm a child. I don't like being here, and I wouldn't have to be if this council listened to students like me. But I'm gonna keep showing up because the kids at my school that this council is harming with their transphobic and misogynistic agenda see me as a leader, someone who's willing to stand up for them and their rights. I have trans classmates that look to me for information, for validation, for support, and I can't let them down. People are scared. People I know are staying in the closet because they fear the repercussions of coming out. Here in New York City, in the most open city in America. And it's not just trans kids. You claim that this resolution is about protecting female athletes. But I was talking to a cis friend of mine who's on the girls' track team. And she says that she feels threatened by 248 sponsors, not the trans kids she's trying to shut out. And she can outrun me by a mile, and not that that's important. I was on the boys' swim team before I transitioned, and my time wouldn't have even been in the 50th percentile of the girls. Okay? And you guys claim that all this is based on biology, all this harassment, all this rhetoric. And I don't want to be that side kid, but I have a 4.0. I took AP Bio. And I'm pretty confident that I know more biology than the people sponsoring this resolution. In AP Bio, we had a whole unit on sex and genetics and all that. And we learned that neither gender nor sex is binary. They both exist on spectrum. And that the way we analyze them in society is social. It's a social construct. We analyze sex as a social construct, as is the way we analyze gender. Please do what the science actually says and what the students want and say resolution for. Thank you.
Followed by Sawyer and then Jules.
Hi, I'm Raisian, and I go to Saxon High School. I believe in a District 2 that can be more supporting for trans kids and kids in general. Here I speak because all I should have to say is rescind 248 for you to hear my voice and all the others that I speak for. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Before you begin, I just want to note the council member everyone is present.
Hello, my name is Sawyer, and it's nice to speak to you all. I've been attending this meeting since November, and over the last 6 months, I've seen incredible testimony from trans kids and their parents, and from educators and athletes and administrators and community members, and everyone who's advocating for the safety and well-being of all students, and especially trans youth. But today, I'm here to unite specifically and to thank the people on this board who have done the right thing. So I want to thank you all, Sonal and Gavin and Sarah and Jessica and Lila and Alexander for your genuine dedication and for your care for marginalized students in their education. You all have proven steadfast and even-keeled despite pressure, backlash, and your integrity is admired and it's appreciated deeply. Your resolutions to protect trans students, to ensure the teaching of accurate history in our schools, to allow educators to grade and plan according to individual student needs, and to question the unbalanced mayoral power that oversees NYC public schools, and your unwavering dedication to the protection of the young people in your care are all testaments to your character. Not only are they commendable, they are necessary. We are in an age of uncertainty and misinformation and scapegoating and fear, and what may seem like a minor fringe issue in a hyperlocal or inconsequential setting are in fact just the first dominoes. They are the beginnings of chain reactions of discrimination, and it may seem trivial to fight to keep one domino standing, but not only are you protecting something important in and of itself, no matter how small it may seem, you are also protecting everything else that it is connected to. I speak on behalf of all of Anti-Trans for Liberation when I say that we are all grateful to you. And I speak just for myself when I say that I don't know if I could be here in this room without you all, or without you all, because I truly don't know how much good I would have to continue to care and to continue to fight without the proven dedication of other ordinary people by my side. So from the bottom of my heart and from the bottoms of all of our hearts, thank you. And please stop recording, students, please stop recording minors when they come to speak, please.
Want to take this really seriously? We had talked about doing these this month with clowning, so even though I'm a really verbal person, I'm just gonna do some clowning. Also, just in fact, checking on campus and doing language stuff. Yeah, Annalie is one example, but the research overwhelmingly shows that when we support students' gender identity, they are happier, healthier, right? They don't do like die by suicide. They are parts of the community, and you can be a part of also helping those students. All students, all issues are transissues, as someone said before. All students deserve to feel loved and cared for. And a lot of the examples here are also like high schoolers or college students. And we're talking about mostly K-8 schools in District 2, so I don't even know why we're talking about that, but we really don't need to be focusing on how to make schools worse for kids. Let's talk about making schools better for kids.
The Mitch called by Heather Maria, it looks like Chrissy R.
Good evening, council members. I am a District 2 graduate and now a District 2 parent as well. Parent of a District 2 kid. As I'm sure you've heard, Governor Hochul's budget institutes a statewide ban on phones in schools. Our son recently wrote an essay on the Yonder pouches that they use at his middle school, and she made some solid points. Though the students aren't all fans, the pouches have made a huge difference in maintaining student attention during class without requiring the teachers to constantly discipline them. As my son noted in his essay, the pouches can help with getting people to pay more attention to the world around them. You may want to consider familiarizing yourself with them before the rule takes effect next school year. Perhaps the council can invest in a set of pouches if you need help paying attention to the speakers in front of you, perhaps. And that might help get you more in line with what's going on. That said, let's let the kids play. Thank you.
We're gonna have Chrissy R next, and then we're gonna have Keith.
Hi everyone. I worked as a teacher in public schools for 15 years, including District 2. Cutting funding for elections will not solve the issues with engagement. I was thrilled to canvass in Chinatown, i.e. go out into the streets in person on public sidewalks, in parks and libraries for the recent elections. Chinatown is a beautifully diverse neighborhood with an array of cultures and languages, and is an example of only one neighborhood in District 2, with many working class and financially under-resourced families. I had many amazing conversations with parents in this neighborhood who were excited to vote, engage, and participate in elections once they better understood the process or that it was even an option. From what I saw, instead of cutting funding, having more people from face on the ground, for example, having tables set up inside the school to inform and educate voters would make a huge difference. My wish is that there is more work and focused effort put into directly engage teens and parents, especially working class families. These communities are full of amazing leaders, skills, and resources that stretch beyond money. They deserve a voice and inclusion in the decisions that affect their children and schools. Actively reaching out to and including members of these communities will ultimately enhance District 2. Additionally, Maud Marin, rolling your eyes when the student speaker was up here earlier is so absolutely disgraceful, and I hope you all caught that on camera. the award reflects directly on you. Shameful.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad that I made it. Some of you know me. I'm Chrissy Rose. I'm a full contact karate black belt and a semi-knockdown champion. I teach martial arts, self-defense, and violence prevention to adults and children of all genders. I also have an F on my birth certificate. I'm telling you all of this to say that I have some qualifications to speak on Resolution 248. Today, I want to talk about the violence prevention aspect of my resume. So we keep hearing over and over again that keeping trans girls out of sports is about fairness or safety or protecting girls, but the folks on this board who have pushed Resolution 248 through have yet, to my knowledge, to produce anyone who has experienced any harm in this district from a trans girl playing sports. Meanwhile, every month you hear about the harm that everybody here is experiencing. You hear about harm from students, from teachers, from parents, from community members who are actively being harmed by this resolution. In Germany from 1933 to 1938, the Nazis took lots of measures to push Jews out of society. They prevented them from accessing state-funded health care, they kicked them out of the military, and they made it illegal for them to play sports. Those things should sound familiar because they are all things that have happened to transgender Americans under this administration, and one of them is something that's happening right here in this room. You can tell us that we're overreacting, you can use strongman arguments, you can tone police us, and you can bemoan the lack of civility that we express, but fuck civility. Civility is not what is called for here. When there are attacks on children and vulnerable people happening, that doesn't deserve civility. That deserves reality. Please rescind 248. Thank
Hello, can everyone hear me? I just want to say that since we're professionals in education, I want to ask, what does everyone here think children deserve? And I say that I think that children deserve freedom, safety, autonomy, and humanity. And anyone who doesn't believe that has no right to be in charge of children. Now, I'm going to speak first on the resolution that shares PTA funding in District 2 with the wider district. I just want to say that while I am not a Christian, I do consider myself a follower of Christ and ideology, and I believe that if you are blessed with riches and good things, you have a right to share it with other people. I've gone to schools with plenty of funding. I've gone to schools with no funding. And I think it is good, it is our God-given right and duty to share with people who have less, to give to people so they can experience the things that they deserve. I love growing up in Abraham Lincoln, and I love having the means to have wonderful programs. I think every student in the entirety of New York City deserves that. And the same way I think that children deserve funding for after-school programs and academics, I think that trans children deserve safe after-school spaces for people who care about them and love them and acknowledge their humanity, to have fun in a space that's not academic, but they have control and autonomy. So the same reason that I oppose that I want funding to be shared throughout NYC schools, whatever resolution is, that's the name of it, is the same reason I want trans students to be able to play. Because I believe that children deserve everything we can possibly give them, whether it's our material riches and sharing funding, as Christ intended. Christ wanted us to share all that we have, all that we are blessed with. That is the Christian way. Just so you know, it's the Christian way to share all that you are blessed with to everyone who deserves it, whether or not they deserve grace or not, is giving grace to those who deserve it least that makes you a follower of Christ. And that by that same measure, I believe trans students deserve that same grace and safety and love. And anyone who thinks otherwise is not a true follower of Christ and definitely does not deserve to be charged with children in any capacity. Period. Thank you.
I'm a mom of a trans kid who luckily graduated before all of this started. I dream of a District 2 CE2 meeting that people know about and are excited to attend, where parents show up and stay for the whole thing because the meetings end at a reasonable hour and they're both fun and meaningful, where moms and dads and non-binary parents are supported and surrounded by whole families and communities, caregivers, aunties, uncles, grandparents, neighbors, and chosen family, where teachers and social workers, janitorial staff, and administrators are welcome and respected, where all of the trusted adults in children's lives are invited to play a meaningful role in decisions that affect their lives. I dream of a District CEC2 meeting that feels safe, free of all forms of violence, hopeful, where all kids can just be kids who live, learn, thrive, love, and belong. A meeting where there is clean air to breathe, a community where each individual genuinely cares about all children in that community, not just their own, and authentically, not regardless, but intentionally because of identities, race, gender identity, immigration status, disability, languages, where people bring more joy into the space, and people joining via Zoom are actively participating in all parts of the meeting.
Next, we have McKenna Santiago Coyle, will be followed by Ro Pena and Chelsea.
I'm going to continue where she left off. I dream of a CEC2 meeting where a meeting that feels like collaboration, not competition, where we, parents, are treated with respect and treat others with respect. I dream of a board meeting where there is free and accessible interpreter services for those who speak English as a foreign language, as well as those who are deaf or hard of hearing. That feels like an inviting place for working class and financially under-resourced families to participate and be truly represented. District 2 includes many neighborhoods with working class families from a gorgeous array of backgrounds, cultures, and languages. These communities are full of amazing leaders, skills, and resources that stretch beyond money. They deserve a voice and inclusion in the decisions that affect their children and schools. Actively recruiting and including members of these communities will enhance the discussions and decision-making of this council. I dream of a District 2 CEC meeting where I see students on board, trans students, all members of the council looking at me and listening with curiosity to me as I speak. More than one trans woman, some of whom are moms and grandmothers, both blood and chosen, sitting at the decision-making table, where I see food and fresh water available for folks. People with lots of different genders. The trans flag and the progress flag are draped in the center of the table. Folks of color, poor and working class parents, immigrants, people who don't speak English, grandparents, uncles, cool older half siblings, stepmoms, childless cat ladies.
We have Chelsea Rodriguez and Jules.
I dream of a CEC2 meeting where council members really listen to one another and the members of the public who speak during it. Early childhood educators, art teachers, sex educators, math coaches, union reps, and librarians. No packs. Council members and members of the public sitting in a big circle that includes everyone. Folks dancing the latest queer pop. Bountiful art and engineering supplies for folks to paint, draw, sketch, sculpt, build. Folks wearing a rainbow of outfits, including saris, keffiyehs, sundresses, hijabs, BLM at NYC school t-shirts, kippahs, denim vests, covered with clear pins and patches, and very gay floral suits. A library of books that provide all community members with mirrors of their lived experiences, as well as windows into the experiences of others, and tell true stories about race, gender, justice, power, and identity. More of those rainbow cookies we had last time.
People who have power being held accountable for their actions or inaction. Feeling free legal support where folks can ask questions and get free access to tools to understand, use, and shape the law. A functioning and more accessible internet/Zoom connection that brings people in from home and allows them to speak as well. Students free to give testimonials about their direct experience, people talking about curriculum, pedagogy, and solidarity. Working class families of color, and working class families of English language learners being actively recruited and included on this board and in these meetings as they make up a significant percent of this district. Free childcare, so busy parents can attend and fully participate. I dream of a District 2 CEC meeting where I see sitting in a place of honor.
So, Speaker, can I finish your thoughts? Chelsea Rodriguez.
Finishing where she left off. I dream of a District 2 CEC meeting where I see sitting in places of honor, Audience for Liberation founder Dr. Megan Madison amidst a group of powerful Black women leaders, including Kim Watson Benjamin, Kimberly Crenshaw, and Queen Jean, practicing and teaching organized wisdom learned across generations. Ani Sandstone amidst an intergenerational posse of trans women and girls, some who play sports in District 2 and some who don't, children and teachers. I dream of a District 2 CEC meeting where I see in the circle student council reps from around District 2 who get a vote ideally, teachers paid to attend and share insights, community members from school districts around the world who come to share and learn together, District 2 alumni returning to ensure that the next generation of students feel the same love and care they felt while at school. More and other UFT union reps. I dream of meetings that sound like members of the community grappling with issues that are important to District 2 families and working together to solve community problems, that sound respectful and with all of the council members staying until the end of the meeting. Children laughing, clear audio and video that's being simultaneously translated into multiple languages, interpreted into ASL, and provided live transcription. Someone turning to a neighbor to ask where the bathroom is and feeling no fear or anxiety whatsoever about whether they'll be able to pee in peace because all of the bathrooms are all gender. Whirling fidget spinners, community singing joyful freedom songs, authentic and truly thoughtful listening. They're intentionally transparent and access forward for all. They're honest and vulnerable. No one knows everything, and that's okay. Discussion of issues that are not about restricting children's learning.
Rules. Children.
Yeah, that's what
This is here. We have Bailey. Alana. We have Heather, and then we have Alana.
Who's next?
If there's no Heather.
Sorry, we put it together. Like, really, the whole community put it together. So, if you can't tell.
Can I ask you speaking now?
Bailey.
All right, so we have Bailey and Bailey here.
Hi.
Bailey's at the mic.
I dream of a D2 CEC meeting. Singing joyful freedom songs, authentic and truly thoughtful listening. They're intentionally transparent and access forward, again, for all. They're honest and vulnerable. No one knows everything, and that's okay. Discussion of issues that are not about restricting children's learning. Students talking about the work they do with other children, perhaps high high school students sharing about how they mentor other students. Listening to and including the voices of working class and financially under-resourced families in multiple languages. I dream of a D2 CEC meeting where there's childcare and empathy, like in District 13. Room for learning and growth, where students' votes count and youth voices matter. Where the deep expertise of professional educators, social workers, principals, and superintendents built with intention through years of hard work and dedication is trusted and valued. Where every child feels proud, accomplished, accepted, and happy at school. All kids get what they need to learn without being affected by the polarization and bias adults bring to the table. Parents from any and all ethnicities, races, and working classes can be unafraid and attend and speak, knowing they're in a safe and valued place. They can attend without fear that they may be outing their kids or putting them in harm's way, rather than taking pride in working with their community to proactively create a better environment for the kids. Where all families in D2 are truly represented, including working class families of color, working class families, and English language learning families. And also when all attendees of the meetings respect the state's guidelines and rules to not document students tonight. Thank you.
Carrie.
Hi, everybody. It's Elena. I assume we know it's Elena at this point. You know, 15 months of coming to these meetings.
It's funny, but we always lost something. I can't remember.
Fair. Okay. I will say our speaker earlier didn't remember, but either way, I want to start by saying thank you to everybody who helped with this. A whole bunch of you all helped put together this document of like what this meeting should feel like. And it made me feel so amazing and wonderful to hear everybody get up their ears. And for those of us on the board who've been at the meetings for the last 15 months, thank you for being here and doing that too. So I came to the CECD2 meeting where all families in District 2 are truly represented, including working class families of color, working class English language learning families, neighborhoods in District 2 with working class families, and there are many, are full of amazing leaders, skills, and resources that stretch just beyond money. Actively recruiting and including members of the communities is essential to a successful D2 CEC. There's been a huge imbalance historically as it relates to who has the ability to just sit down in peace and quiet and learn. As a result, so much has just been lost. And so, if I have to come up with an answer on the spot, I think it's creating a safe environment for everyone to just read and write and learn.
Thursday followed by, it looks like Michelle. Michael, I'm sorry, it's a handwriting, that was not me. And then we're gonna have Debbie Wells.
Hello again. Obviously, I'm here to support Resolution 272 and ask you to rescind Resolution 248. I'm a D2 mom with 2 girls who've gone to 4 different schools, only D2 schools. Like someone else said, thankfully, my trans daughters graduated as well. So that doesn't mean I shouldn't be here, because I need to be here to help everybody else who helped us get through what we got through, and so that all of these kids have the same support and love that my daughter did when she was in her public schools. Parents of trans youth and trans youth keep coming here and telling you how harmful this 248 is, but you don't listen. And I think the only reason that you brought it here in the first place was to score some kind of political points and get attention to yourself, which you otherwise wouldn't get, because you're just not that interesting. Stop using our kids to get a fucking headline from the New York Post. Also support resolution 273. Helping others lifts us all, and it's a bit shameful to hear people think that by giving something up that you have more of, it somehow takes things away from you. And resolution 274, I would be for it if you struck paragraph 5, page 1, regarding the increased number of candidates applying, to say that there are more choices is overly burdensome on voters and we can't somehow handle it is insulting. And I want to know, what is the reasonable amount of new candidates who are trying to run to unseat you? 0, I suppose, right? 0 for to say in a resolution that many candidates applying have little or no understanding of the responsibilities of council members, well, I would say that a majority of the current council has little or no understanding of the responsibilities of council members. That's substance. You obstruct quorum, you manipulate attendance records, you go months without votes, and then declare yourselves effective. It's a shameful lack of self-awareness. I'm going to come back, second session, to thank you guys.
Good evening. My name is Michael. I am a T2 parent of 2 kids. This is my 5th CEC meeting. My understanding is that the purpose of these meetings is to improve the quality of education and the school experience for all New York City public school kids. However, in the 5 CEC meetings I've been to, the majority of the council to this side of the table, that is the majority in this council, have not been to each of the 5 meetings I've attended from the beginning to the end, except for 1 member. Bob, you missed 2 that I've been to, and you left early to all the others. Allison, you missed 2, left early to all the others. Bree, you missed 1, left early twice. Charles has now missed 3. He's in a lot of trouble. And he was over 2 hours late to the last one and was counted present. Daniela, you missed 1. You left early to rest. Craig, you missed last week. Song, Gavin, Sarah, Jessica, and Leonard, you all get gold stars for perfect attendance. There are only 10 CEC meetings in a year. Based on my experience at all the public schools I've attended, some of our council's effort would have meant we would not have passed your classes, and if you went to the college I attended, you would definitely have flunked out of school. For those members who have less than perfect attendance, why are you here if you are not willing to do the work? Show your work and be present.
The question of how costs followed by higher price, and then our
Good evening, CEC2. I'm not a CEC2 parent, but thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm a parent of 3 children in public school, but in high school, so I'm actually the president of CCHS. And tonight I just want to speak about the resolution 274, the one that faced, because we passed the same in my council. And this is my 3rd time running for a seat. I know many of you have run or running, and I think we may not agree on all topics, but I think we can all agree this was very poorly run. Actually, I've seen Councilmember Healy talking to the press and making very similar remarks that I've made about the fact that FACE shouldn't be running an election. I agree. You know, what they do poorly, so they shouldn't be doing things they don't know how to do. But there were many violations, and I think any candidate, but then also any public school parents who's a potential voter, and we know only 3% of people vote, which is unfortunate, should be outraged because this is not real representation. I don't have an issue with the number of candidates. I think it's great that a lot of people want to run. I do think having participated in forums that some people have no idea what CECs do, they've never joined a CEC meeting. They're all different, by the way, but I think it would be good to attend at least one to just have a sense. And some people on my forum didn't even know you had to show up in person. So that's a little disconcerting. So I hope all of you here tonight vote. This is not about defunding schools, by the way. It's just about making sure that FACE spends a lot of money and that it's well spent so that there is real parent engagement and that we can get good representation and good advocacy for all our kids. Thank you very much.
Hello. Good evening, council members. My name is Amaya. I'm a chapter leader of Gays Against Rumors, a nonprofit dedicated to protecting children from indoctrination, sexualization, and medicalization under the guise of LGBT inclusion. I'm here to urge you to face the reality surrounding Resolution 272. Let's be clear, Resolution 272 seeks to overturn Resolution 248, a community-supported measure calling for open dialogue on girls' sports policy. Yet for over a year, efforts to silence discussion and push multiple failed resolutions have wasted time and resources on any issue needing common sense and fairness. Resolution 272 conflicts with President Trump's executive order keeping men out of women's sports signed February 5th. This order enforces Title IX directing the Department of Education to withhold federal funding from schools allowing males to compete in girls' sports. This wasn't a symbolic gesture. It was a binding directive, and non-compliance has consequences. By supporting New York's current gender policy and by pushing resolutions like Resolution 272, the district is risk losing critical funding, money for programs, staffing, and all student services. You're telling parents and students that their preferences of a few outweigh the rights of many. Female athletes deserve a level playing field where their hard work is overshadowed by unfair competition. That's not inclusion. It's prioritizing the needs of a few over the needs of many. Some might call that negligence. And let's not forget, New York is already facing consequences. Stereotypical schools are under federal investigation for a Title IX violation tied to these same policies. Do you want this district to be next? Council members, leadership means taking a stand even when it's hard and controversial. Care about protecting opportunities for all students, preserving funding, and upholding federal law. The path forward is to vote no on Resolution 272.
And that concludes the first public speaking session. Thank you. Okay, we'll move over to the report. There is a second public speaking session. We want to sign up. Thank you, and good evening, everybody.
Hear me better. Okay. I'm sorry, you'll have to go to the next session where we're already started the next president's report.
That's just.
So, you're a student? It's fine, go ahead, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, that's okay, go ahead. You want to time it?
I'm 16 and I'm a trans man. I don't wish to speak with the trans person today because I'm sure that some of you will write me off. I don't mind. I don't care. I'm sure that you'll write me off as a trans person asking for special treatment. I'm not asking for that at all. I'm asking for simple equality. I wish to speak directly to those who will almost certainly vote against the trans community. I speak to you today as a student of law, not as a trans person. I believe the integrity of freedom, equality, and justice in the US court system. I believe that we can agree that every person in this country deserves to live without the fear of violence, discrimination, or hatred against them. We may disagree on how we must achieve peace, but we must unite on the importance of protecting all the fundamental rights for every person. It is said that America stands for liberty and justice for all, and I ask you to take action to ensure that these values are truly upheld for everyone, including the LGBTQ community. Please think about how your policies actually impact real life Americans. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for that. And thank you to all the speakers. Thank you and good evening, everyone. I'd first like to thank ISPS 276 for hosting us. Thank you to Principal Alexis Tabor. I hope I pronounced that right, and her staff. I only know her as Alexis because she used to be at my school and we were on a first name basis, so I apologize. 3K offers are now available. I'm sure everyone who has applied has checked to see their offers, but just in case you didn't know, please check my schools. G&T applications for grades 1 through 4 are closed. We'll have results shortly. For those who are interested, there are safety and independence trainings for families. This is a Zoom that happens over several nights, June 3rd, 10th, 17th, 24th, and July 8th at 6:30. This student safety and independence training for families pilot program is designed to empower parents with the knowledge and resources to promote the safety skills of their own children with disabilities. Students with disabilities benefit from explicitly learning skills to ensure safety, leading them to more freedom and independence, an increase in self-esteem, and more opportunities for jobs and independent living in the future. If each skill is embedded and practiced until the student has demonstrated mastery, they should be able to travel using the city's transit systems and pedestrian routes rather than yellow busing or other special transportation. If you're interested, please check with Victor. Victor, please raise your hand and he can help you get the information you need. This is through the Division of Inclusive and Accessible Learning, and you need to do this by Friday. A bunch of acknowledgements for May. A couple of weeks ago was Teacher Appreciation Week. We'd like to thank all of our teachers for everything they do for our kids. It was also School Nurse Day on May 7th, and we'd like to acknowledge our remarkable school nurses. May is National Speech Language Hearing Month. To our speech pathologists, thank you for everything you do. Your work is integral to helping students across the city communicate with confidence. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Mental health resources are available to every school, offering support to meet the emotional needs of our students, educators, and staff. I'd also like to acknowledge that May is also Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, AAPI. Please join us in celebrating the diverse cultures, histories, and achievements in the AAPI communities throughout New York City and beyond this month and all year long. Also, happy Jewish American Heritage Month. We're proud to honor the culture, contributions, and lived experiences of Jewish Americans throughout history, both here in New York City and beyond. As Len mentioned last month, by the way, thank you to Len for running last month's meeting. I had a last-minute work emergency. As Len mentioned last month, many of our schools received approval for additional funding to support the expansion of class size reduction initiative. Several schools did not apply. There were several schools that simply were not in a position right now given their size constraints. I know the district is working with those schools to come up with longer-term solutions. And don't forget, if you didn't speak in the first session or you want to speak, or if you did and you want to speak again, you can sign up for the second session on the piano. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our superintendent, Kelly McGuire.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks so much for having me this evening, council. I'm very happy to be here, joined by several members of our team, as well as a couple of members of our citywide district planning team. Very happy to work closely when we are considering different changes that we might consider and results in regard to school utilization within our district. Earlier this month, we held a forum along with Mayor Adams up in the Health Kitchen area. The forum was intended, these have been forums that the mayor has been putting together over the past few months to really address specific issues that are specific to a community. All of the different agency heads come out to the forum. At this forum, they were particularly focused on a couple of different issues. One of them is a large project that is being done in the Chelsea area, a reciting of and reconfiguration of the Fulton Elliott Chelsea houses. We were involved in this project, and we wanted to make sure that we raised this issue with the mayor's team and that we were present for this because we do know that PS 33 is one of the schools that is in the near vicinity. The project is it's a huge project that looks to increase the number of available housing from around 2,200 people to over 5,000 people. We want to make sure that PS 33, the needs of the family and the community are really centered in the work there. We also raised a few issues in regard to make sure that we have strong school safety agents in the area, as well as work that we are doing in the area and in various schools around reading intervention. We've seen very strong work in the schools that are in the health kitchen area in relationship to reading and seeing strong growth for all of our students, including our English language learners and students with disabilities. Earlier today, we held an end-of-year celebration up at the Museum of the City of New York. That was a celebration that was centered on our Civics for All work. We had about 20 of our schools come out to participate in Civics for All, and it was great hearing from the elementary and middle school students who had engaged in civics projects. The Museum of the City of New York has been a great partner for our district as we are looking to expand access to different projects and exhibits that specifically align with our curriculum. But it was great to hear our students come out and talk about the projects that they had initiated in their schools to help to improve their schools and to explain the process that they went through to participate in our participatory budgeting project that is a big centerpiece of the Civics for All work. I want to thank Principal Alexis Tabor, who last week she initiated, about 2 months ago, she initiated the idea of a District 2 hiring fair. And we know that over the next year, we're going to hire about 120 new teachers, brand new teachers, new positions into our district schools. So several schools are looking for teachers to hire. And Principal Tabor said, hey, why don't we try to organize a hiring fair? So we had over 30 schools represented here, and we had over 200 teacher applicants come out to share their resumes, conduct brief interviews with principals and their teacher teams. It was just a really fantastic event, so we can't thank you enough for all that work. So it's really great. We also, over the past week, we honored one of our principals, Principal Rennie Fong of PS 130. Principal Fong served as the president for the A3 organization. A3 is a chapter of the CSA, the union that works for principals and assistant principals in our district. And Principal Fong served as the president of that organization for 3 years. He was honored by both the UFT and CSA for his incredible leadership. And so we really are appreciative of all the work that he has done, both at his school and for our district as a whole. So we also, in our district, as many people know, there are several districts across the city who have been using the Wit and Wisdom curriculum. This past few months, we have been host to citywide visits, both at PS3 and at PS59. We had representatives come out from District 3, 15, 18, and 19. Superintendents and their teams came to see the work in action. They came to see the high quality practice that we had in our classrooms. They saw how teachers were working to build access for diverse populations across our schools. And they also really came to hear how it is that school leaders came out to really support the work that was going on in their schools. Just as we're looking to the coming year, we have 3 different areas in which we're really focused on for the continued implementation of our core curriculum. We're continuing to focus on the implementation of the core tier 1 curriculum. We also are building our teaming and data-based decision-making across those teams. And we want to work on how it is that we are organizing and preparing for small group instruction, both in intervention and as enrichment. Yesterday, we had a district-wide principal conference at Ballet Tech. We had over 150 folks from both principals and teacher leaders from their schools come to Ballet Tech yesterday. And we had a great meeting to kick off some of this work in planning for the coming year. So as I think President Slutskin was mentioning, but also might have been mentioned before, is that our district has been a part of the work to reduce class size in preparation for the new class size limits that are going to be in effect as of the 2028-2029 school year. The addition of new teachers into our schools is really going to help us to bring the number of classes that meet the new class size limits up to about 50% of our classes. But we know that there are, as the council has alluded to, there are going to be challenges that extend far beyond that of just hiring new teachers, because we don't want to reduce the number of students that are enrolled in any one school. We want to make sure that we are maintaining capacity. So we're really having to take a step back and look at where is it that we have excess capacity in our school buildings? Where do we have schools that are over-enrolled? Where do we have schools that are under-enrolled? And how is it that we can work together with the Office of District Planning, with different school communities to really think about how it is that we might move forward with that work. Earlier this week, we met with the 75 Morton School Leadership Team. 75 Morton is a big, beautiful building that has a strong and rich community, even though the school is only about 10 years old, but it has a lot of capacity in the building. And so we met with the community there to think about how it is that we could grow the community, how it is that we might be able to use and utilize the excess space that is currently in the building. And so we're going to continue to work and move forward with the 75 Morton community, thinking about how it is that we might utilize that space. We might partner with another school. We might consider schools that are incredibly over-enrolled. We have some schools in our district and some buildings in our district that are about 150% of utilization. And so we really have to think about how it is that we're taking advantage of those resources in order to meet class size and also grow strong communities. Summer Rising is coming up, and I think an important note to let people know is that there have been new offers for Summer Rising that have come out to families just recently. Families, if you are waiting on a spot for your Summer Rising seat for your child, please make sure to accept that spot right away. It's important for us to know who is actually coming to our Summer Rising programs, and so that we can continue to open up those seats to families across the district who are really waiting on us. We have 2 principal retirements that have been recently announced. Principal Doreen Esposito of Manhattan New School, PS 290, and Silvana Eng, principal of PS 2. Both of these school leaders have served in their school buildings for quite a long time. And so we're working with the school leadership teams and the Chancellor's Regulation 30 process to make sure that we're appointing strong leaders that can help to maintain the continuity of the school and help to bring the school closer to the new goals that they have set for the coming year. So we met with both of the school leadership teams. We congratulate both of these new principals, and we're going to continue to work through the Chancellor's Regulation 30 process until we have strong candidates for principal, and then we'll eventually appoint a new principal to each of these schools. Couple of dates looking ahead. Monday is Memorial Day, so there's no school for the kids. We have a few days off in June for Eid, for Juneteenth, and for a working day for teachers here in schools. We have 2 Regents exams that are really important here in District 2, the Algebra 1 Regents and the Biology Regents. Those are Regents exams that are being administered across District 2. And we're looking at the last day of school of June 26th. And with that, I conclude my report. Thank you.
Happy to take any questions. No, questions from the camps. Sorry. Okay, so on summarizing, do you know what the wait list is? You said there a wait list.
There's not a wait list until we have extended all of the offers to the schools.
Okay.
That wait list is going to be in process. I don't know if we have a concluding date in which the wait list closes. We continue to access the wait list until summarizing actually begins. Last year, when summarizing began, we actually had some seats in all of our programs, or in many of our programs. So that wait list will remain open, and we'll just keep accepting kids in until we're fully full.
So at the end of last year, by the time this a week or two into the summer, were all kids off the waiting list? Did all kids get placed that were on the waiting list?
By the time summarizing started last year, we were able to provide a seat. It wasn't necessarily in the school of choice.
Correct, I understand.
We were able to provide a seat in a summarizing program for anybody who wanted.
Now, my recollection of the program is you get bused from your home school. So let's say my child is at PS 212 and the summarizing spot is at PS 41, just for argument's sake. I have to bring my kid, if I bring my kid to 212, my kid gets bused to 41. Is that's
there isn't
busing?
There is busing for students with disabilities.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. I apologize. Okay.
Let's check it with Reggie. He's the
okay.
the superintendent Higgins is the summarizing guru.
So if you're a student with a disability, no matter what school you get into, you will get a bus, even if it's not your first choice.
You can have busing. It is included on your
IEP. Okay. Okay. Are there any other questions from the council? Start from the end. We'll just go this way. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, I know in the beginning, maybe a couple months ago, you talked more about like suspensions and I was wondering if you had any data about that maybe for next or last meeting for the year next. So I'm curious they've gone down and you're saying that luckily like the numbers have gone down this year. I was kind of just curious to see those and don't you have data. But yeah.
I don't have the data for May, but we will make a note and we will make sure to have those data.
Do you have a sense? Just not exact numbers.
The numbers continue to go down. Our percentages continue to drop, both of principal suspensions, superintendent suspensions, and major incidents in our school.
Could you remind everyone what the difference, I'm sorry, just to remind, what the difference between a principal suspension and a superintendent suspension, just so we understand what that is?
Yeah, the superintendent suspension is not facilitated by the superintendent, but it is facilitated by a suspension office. That is managed centrally. A principal suspension tends to be a very short suspension. In our district, it's usually 1 or 2 days. And generally, a principal suspension is issued for more minor infractions. There are serious incidences that occur, and a principal may apply for a superintendent suspension for a student. And then that is facilitated by a central office. And that can extend for from 6 days to really, really serious instances can be much, much longer.
Do you have any follow-up on that? Sorry.
No,
okay.
I just would love to get the data for next month.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So I was contacted by some parents this month because apparently a school district in Brooklyn announced that they're going to have geometry middle school in a couple of schools in that district. And there are literally parents who are now thinking about moving to that district because it's the only chance that they have of getting geometry middle school since they cannot pay for private school. And so my question is, are there any plans for us to add geometry in middle school in our district? And if not, how can we make this happen so we don't lose families who deeply care about math and are literally thinking about moving because of that?
Sure. My understanding from the district in Brooklyn that is looking to include geometry as part of our middle school is that the numbers of students who are participating in that program are very, very small. I think it's important to look at what the interest of a program like that might be in our district. We don't currently have plans to initiate geometry in our district for the coming year. And we will continue to look at that degree of interest. Any kind of decision like that is a decision that needs to be done in partnership with the school. Because it is a big impact on a school to be able to provide a new course like that. And so if there is a school where this seems like it is something that the school community is really fighting for, then we will work with that school community to see if we can make it happen.
Follow up?
Yeah, try go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll let Maud.
Can you unmute your so it might be your sound might be better if you unmute. Let me just make you a host. Hold on, I'm gonna make you a co-host. Oh, you're off? Okay. Okay, just go. It's fine.
Let's go, yeah. Yeah, it's on.
Okay, sorry. Superintendent Black.
Yes.
I'm somewhat surprised, but delighted to hear you say that, you're quite interested in, parent activism around having advanced and accelerated math classes, because as you know, Allison and I began the Academic Affairs Committee in the beginning of this year with the express purpose of bringing accelerated math programs to District 2. We have held 2 separate meetings, and to your credit, and I thank you for this, you have attended those meetings. We held 2 separate meetings with both subject matter experts speaking, and also, speak of the devil, Stephen Stowe, a council member from District 2, who has been from District 20 rather, who has been essential in bringing accelerated math to his district, specifically because of parent advocacy around those issues. And Stephen spoke about how the effort that he had to do to bring those accelerated math options to the district. To be very polite about it, Kelly, you've been giving us the runaround. You asked Allison and I to, have parents that were interested in having these programs get together. We did that. We created math liaisons. You asked us to talk to principals of schools. We have done that. Allison has done that. I've done that. Some of our math liaison parents have done that. But you are the leader of the district. And when principals say, we haven't received any instruction from the superintendent, we haven't received any guidance from the superintendent, it becomes very, very hard to make the change that we're advocating for. I would like to hear from you concretely, in addition to all the steps that Allison and I have done, and that other members of this council that have supported our efforts have done. What is it you would like parents to do to express to you our interest in having improved and accelerated math classes? Geometry in middle school is a pipe dream for us at this point. It's amazing, and I commend the parents of District 20 who have done it. We're asking to just take the existing 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th graders and divide them in a way that the kids who are in the accelerated ability and range can have math classes that challenge them. And we have pointed out to you that we have students in District 2 who are spending thousands of dollars a year to get outside math instruction. We have been, to put it politely, hectoring you for an entire CEC term, and you've been ignoring us. So when you say to Daniela Eggeroff, oh, if there's some interest, we'll look into it. What interest is it exactly? Tell me and we'll do it. Tell me what it is you need from us to do the accelerated math pilot program that we talked with you about 2 years ago. Tell us what you need that would constitute interest, and we will do that.
What I said to Daniela was the exact same thing that I said to you, was that you need to go to your school communities. I know that you've engaged with some of your principals. I am waiting to hear if some of your principals want to come back and talk with me about the program. It is a heavy lift to be able to implement something like this. The resources need to be gathered and organized within that school community. And if that's something that happens within a particular school, then we will work with that school and that school community in order to make it happen. And I've been consistent about that. That's what I did before. I also want to make sure that folks know that some of the steps, and we are all about continuing to improve and accelerate the quality of mathematics in elementary and middle school in our district. And so that's why we're working closely with a lot of schools that currently do not have curricula that need to be strengthened. And so we're going to continue to work with those schools to strengthen their curriculum so that they are standards aligned, so that they do accelerate the challenge kids. But this is the resource heavy request. And so the school community needs to be a part of that And so I think if you take the steps that you need to take, and the principals come to me to talk to me about it, then I will talk with them. They want me to come to an SLT meeting. I will come to the SLT meeting to talk about it. But that's the process that needs to be followed in order to implement something like this.
I just want to, so that we have it as part of the public record, I just want to be clear that when we first formed this committee, you invited Allison and I to speak with you and with a deputy superintendent, Kelly Shannon. And I very much appreciated that outreach. I think I can speak for both Allison and myself, but we appreciated that outreach. But at the time, there was a sort of different version of what needed to happen, because we both indicated that we knew that there was intense interest in our respective school communities, but in downtown schools. And we do have this very diverse and interesting district. And we specifically had a conversation with you about how if we did a pilot program, that it should be at multiple different schools that reflected some diversity in our school district. We can't, as two individual parents or two individual council members, go to the principals at different schools. We can tell you that our schools, we've talked to our principals and that they're, not at all telling us no, but telling us that they need direction from their superintendent. We need leadership from our superintendent to do a pilot program that would be in 4 or 5 or 6 different schools. We specifically talked about the downsides of doing them in just 1 or 2 schools that were the schools of council members, and that would not be fair or right. So it can't be both, Kelly. It can't be, oh, I can only do it in your kid's school if your principal comes and talks to me. And what you said to us previously, which is we need to have a diverse sampling of schools throughout the district and do it as a pilot program. Those are 2 separate things. And it can't be both at the same time. And I would just appreciate a little bit more consistency when we're talking about how to get a pilot program off the ground. And the other thing that I will say is, this is not a resource-rich environment. Yes, it takes time from the school leader and it takes time from teachers, but taking existing classes and dividing the existing students with the existing teachers into ability groups is not resource intensive. It doesn't actually require different books. It doesn't require different teachers. It doesn't require smaller or larger classrooms or different materials. It requires the will to talk to parents about the kind of education that they're seeking. And that's what we're asking you to consider doing and to consider you taking a lead on doing. I'm going to pass the microphone to Daniela who has something to say.
I mean, with all due respect, no principal is going to come to you and say they want to do that. And I've talked to so many principals and they say, I can't be involved. I would be super excited to do this. I know kids are reading novels in math class because they are bored. They have done this before, but I cannot be involved because we had Carranza as chancellor here. They all went to that training where they said that punctuality was a white thing, that grammar, correcting grammar and punctuation was like a white supremacy. They are afraid. They are afraid that anything that pushes academics they will be criticized. There will be an article, there will be, protests. And so no principal is going to come and say, I want this. The parents are definitely saying, some parents like myself are just planning to already took one kid out and we'll take another one out from middle school because you don't have good math for kids who can do high level math. But unfortunately, not every parent can make that and pay for private school. And so they are literally planning to leave the district because now there's another district where the parents with the superintendent, it was not that the principals raised their hands, the parents with the principal standards developed this plan, they're going to implement, and they're going to be able to provide a better math education for everybody, because then you don't have kids who are like 4 different grade levels in the same class, and some kids cannot even keep up with what's happening. Some are reading novels because they are so bored. And this is happening in our district, will continue happening until we have an avenue to have accelerated students. We meet their needs. And I agree with Maud, we need your leadership. No principal is going to raise their hands because for so many years they've been told that this is wrong, that there's an equal, and that their job might even be in jeopardy because of that. I'm not saying that that came from you, but it definitely came from Central. It came from the media, it came from everybody. And so they are not going to do that. We need, as leaders, to actually make this happen.
Respectfully, you don't mind me saying that. We judge ourselves on a measure of spending our time and our energy and our resources on improving the quality of learning in schools. That is where we put our time.
I agree, and I know that.
And so in many ways,
He's part of improving.
there are
He's
many ways
part
of
of
improving the
Yes.
quality of education in our classrooms. And we spend all of our time on that, almost exclusively. And so I'm not saying that, I'm not saying there's not a place for accelerated programs in District 2 schools. There is. But I also want to say that our North Star is improving the quality of learning in classrooms for all kids.
I agree.
And,
It's mine too. I spend most of my time writing about that. It is mine too. I spend most of my time writing about things that do not impact my family. But this is an issue. It's not an issue that's going to impact my family. We have found a solution. It is impacting a lot of families. And it's very unfair when you have like a single mother, minority, who lives in a project, who comes and say, I cannot pay for private school. And my kid, my oldest kid, was able to get a very good, advanced math in middle school. And my youngest, I know he won't get. And I don't have an answer to that mother to say, like, this is the solution that our district is working on, besides, start looking at District 20 apartments, because there your kid's gonna get that education. And so we need to work together. Kelly, we wanna work with you. Let's find us a couple of schools. Let's do that. There is demand. You know that our district, there is definitely demand. There's gonna be parents knocking on the door. And let's make sure that I don't think jump should be a pipe dream. It's like, it's the basic that you can get when you have a city spending 36,000 per student. We are the top #1 funding in the country. We are the most inefficient public school system in the country. We spend so much money, we deliver mediocre results. We need to be able to deliver that. And here you have a parent community who wants to do that. And we need your leadership, and you're willing to work with us, and let's make this happen.
Hello, I am really also super excited to hear that you would want, this conversation about advancing math. That has also been my dream, and the reason that I became part of CEC was that the math advanced program at Wagner was taken away. We had high standard math. We had at least phones are always listening.
Yes.
That, I felt like we were going backward, and to hear now, and unfortunately now my child will, have finished Wagner, but for the upcoming generation, so many parents want, and it's not and it's to offer.
My fault.
It really wants me to shut up, right?
Just correct.
That's my fault.
I'm kidding.
Enough.
There, like myself, many parents who want to bring advanced, and it's an option. We want to have options. It's not taking away from anyone. It is allowing options. And this is perfect opportunity as we're hiring 130 plus teachers. What's some geometry, like to incorporate geometry teachers? I don't find that's not difficult for our district of our size to make that happen and to offer that to parents. I think you will be getting parents running to get back into the district, that we are able to offer geometry as an option, right? We have algebra, and other schools are already offering that and bringing it at a younger age if a child wants it. And that's an option. And they test in at Wagner. Previously, they did an assessment. If you meet a certain standard, and even if you qualify and you say, I don't want it, perfect, that's fine. It's an option. Just like we have various other options, I think we should definitely offer that to our kids. And I really hope, look forward to seeing those results happen as my 6-year-old is getting older. I hope by then they'll be able to take it, or before that, ideally for everybody else. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to follow up with Councilmember Bowman just mentioned. Look, I know we're talking about accelerated math, and for those of you in the audience, you probably think, oh, accelerated math, they're always talking about the highest performing students in the district. They're always talking about those who are doing really well. What about the students who have other needs? I can tell you that I have many of my kids have had IEPs. So So when it comes to students with needs or students with disabilities, we try to do our best to provide them with resources, whether it's occupational therapy, whether it's sets, whether it's speech services, whether it's counseling. My children have participated in all of those things. And by the same token, I agree with Pri that I've always looked at education should be like a smorgasbord, and we should have our options. And we should address the differences in students, because not all students are the same. There are students with different needs. There are students who have physical needs, there are students who have psychological needs, emotional needs, and there are students who have academic needs. And we really should give them the options and give parents the options of having those needs fulfilled. So I think that's what it's about. So I have to agree with the other members who have spoken earlier. It does seem sad that after 2 years, we're still in this situation. I respect the fact that you've kind of compromised and given us a little here and there and some acceleration or some screen programs, but the reality is we have to do more. We have to provide more options, and we can do it. We can find the time in a curriculum. There's no reason why that can't be done. But I live on the same block as Russian School of Mathematics, and I see parents lined up. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, because I think it's, I mean, you're joining the rat race kind of early. But the reality is they're there because their children are not getting the educational needs that they, in terms of advanced math in school. So they're paying a lot of money on occasion. And those are the parents who are fortunate enough to be able to afford those services. If you have children who can't, because they either come from families that don't have those kind of resources, what happens to them? They have no options. Their parents can't go to the Russian School of Mathematics. They have to either teach their kids on their own or they're out of luck. So we really need to do a better job, I think, in providing more options to our students. And that's, we're partners. It should really be a partnership. I know we deal with these social issues a lot at the CC, but to me, it's all about the partnership between parents. We'll work with you, but you got to work with us also. Let us have those options.
Yes, let us have those options.
You want to have anybody? Sorry? Okay, I can't say. So you want to, okay, go ahead, Jess.
There was a terrific student with disabilities committee meeting held this week. And during that, there was a discussion about disproportionate suspension and expulsion. You showed us some data last month with respect to that. To the extent that there is data available on legal suspensions or expulsions, that's something that you could provide for us for the next meeting.
I mean, I can tell you right now that we have not expelled students. Since I've been superintendent, we have not expelled students.
Pardon my misuse of the word. So specifically though, with respect to legal suspensions, and whatever, there may not be data on that, but to the extent that that's occurring.
Yeah, I'd be happy to hear a little bit more about what you're referencing, because I don't know exactly what we would find in regard to legal suspensions, but we want to be transparent about what's happening with kids in our schools. I mean, I want to understand the question better.
Is that better? Maybe. Okay. Yeah. So I'm specifically referring to suspensions that may occur without following the proper protocol if students are removed from class. To the extent that that is happening, but not following the proper protocol, there may not be information on that. But it was an issue that was brought up and highlighted. And so during that committee meeting, so I was hoping that there might be more information that could be gathered around it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. I just wanted to add, actually, outside of a CEC2 meeting, I've never heard anyone ever talk about Russian math. It's just not a thing that comes up in my daily experience. I was curious about the summarizing, and you talked about the busing being available for students who have busing on their IEPs for summarizing. Just to clarify, it's my understanding that the busing is only available for the academic portion of the day, because it's usually the morning is the academic DOE administered portion, and the afternoon is administered by the CBO. And the busing contract only is for the morning portion, is that correct?
Yeah, and there's a couple of other things too. You are correct that busing is for the academic portion of the day. It is also for students who have an extended school year as part of their IEP. It is also, busing is also available for students living in temporary housing. But that is the extent of busing.
But it's just for the academic portion, not
Correct.
Yep. Okay. And then I wonder, do you have some data for us? That you talked about the 127 in your presentation, 127 teachers being recruited. Like what subject areas and grade levels those would cover?
I definitely can get that for you. I don't have it right offhand. I will say that there are some schools that were, that put forth plans that were only pertaining to one content area or one grade level. There are some schools that put forth plans that pertain to all the grade levels in their school building. Those schools are hiring more teachers than those obviously that are just at one grade level. But I can get that breakdown for you. Make a note. I can get that breakdown for you, and I can send it out for next.
Thank you.
Can I say, like, one thing in regards to that is, I am empathetic to this situation, and my child is taking pre-calculus this summer, so they need to take calculus next year, because the middle school didn't have, algebra in 8th grade. So I have like a, but I will say, I mean, I hired the federal superintendent of District 20 22 years ago, a teacher. I do know very closely what they're doing in District 20. His conversation with him and I actually led to part of the decision around putting algebra into every single one of our middle schools, because we did want to make sure that kids didn't have access to algebra regardless of, we want to make sure that all kids had access to algebra regardless of what middle school that they went to. And that would be a pathway to calculus without having to go to summer school. And so that is another step that we have taken, and certainly I think evidence of work that we are trying to do to make sure that we're meeting the needs of accelerated learners in our district. So as a part of our mission.
Not enough. It's not enough. Since you shared that, I'd love to know where there's open summer pre-cal, because I would love to take advantage of it. That would be perfect.
It's not free.
Okay, so thank you. Perfect.
I'm trying to find it.
Okay.
But I'm gonna.
We can talk about that offline.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Sorry, can I just say one thing? I found it finally.
Yeah, then I do want to move along.
Okay, I know. Just literally the last thing that I'm gonna say. Where is it? Sorry, I'm getting old. Oh, here. Okay, so
Okay, you're good.
in the last 10 years, District 2 population went down 10% in student population, and District 20 and down 7%. So they now have 32,000 students, and we have around 22. Sorry, is that right? 22,000 students. I mean, we're not talking about a district that, there are tiny districts in this city. There are districts that have like less than 4,000 students now, because they have lost, 36, 40% of their student population. We have enough people to make that happen. And we have space, because as we all know, who are involved here, there are some middle schools that are really struggling to attract students. And so if you actually can guarantee that, children are going to have access to advanced math, it might really convince some parents to go. But, and it doesn't even have to be, you know, at a middle school that is really struggling, talking hypothetically, a middle school that is really struggling, just X students become a reputation. You know, it can, we know that there is space in some other schools, and so it can happen. The only thing that we need now is leadership to make it happen. And I cannot believe that District 20 can convince 3 principals to make this happen, and we cannot convince like a few to make this happen. Like, there's just no reason for them to have this, and we don't. And like, I just, every time I hear the stories of these kids reading novels because, you know, or they are doing their own math, like, and it's not because they love novels, believe me, like, these are mathy kids, they love math. It's just such a waste of talent and resources, like, in our city, in our country. Like, we should just be advancing as many kids as we can, possibly can. And so let's make this happen as soon as possible.
Thank you. Thank you, Superintendent McGuire. Moving along, report of committees. Before we talk about the bylaws, are there any committees that want to report? Gavin, do you want to talk?
So I'm chair of the Student with Disabilities Committee. We had a meeting on this past Monday. We were pleased, we were fortunate to have Rohini Singh, who's the director of the School Justice Project at Advocates for Children, presented to us on protections, procedural protections for families whose students are, undergoing suspension. With special attention to the special protections available for students with disabilities who are subjected to the school disciplinary process. So she talked about things like manifestation and termination reviews and other things that, are triggered when a student with an IEP or a 504 or a student who has who started the process of getting evaluated for an IEP or a 504 is suspended for 11 or more days. So this meeting came about because we know that not just in our district, but citywide and statewide, students with disabilities make up a disproportionate percentage of the students who are subject to school suspensions. Students with disabilities account for about 20% of our students, but they account for about 50% of suspensions. We also know that Black students account for, in our district, about 80% of students, but about 24% of suspensions. And this is similar citywide. So we talked about some of those kind of broader sort of policy issues, but we also talked about some things that were just helpful for families who are in this, in the thick of this process, who, have received a notice that their child is being suspended. And the meeting, the video is already available on our website. I think probably tomorrow we will also put up some additional resources that Advocates for Children shared with us. Both some data about suspensions and about discipline in New York City, and also some other sort of toolkits that could be helpful for any parent who has a child who is facing the school disciplinary process. So. And I just want to thank Kelly McGuire, our superintendent, for attending that presentation, and also thank our administrative assistant Victor for all of his support for that. So thank you.
Greg, I'll say one quick thing if we update. We were just checking to see if there were joining us via Zoom. Superintendent McGuire has already left, but in an odd bit of timing while we were sitting here, one of the math liaisons parents that Allison and I spoke to our last meeting wrote to us to say that they had spoken to their principal and ascertained interest in this program and wanted to pass along to Allison and I that their principal was keen to learn more about how it could happen. I will pass that information along to Superintendent McGuire tomorrow. But this is something that we're having robust interest from parents, and it's literally happening as we're sitting here now. I won't go into the details of the last meeting because we covered the math, the accelerated math program rather extensively this evening, but there continues to be great.
Thank you.
I will add one thing to that, Craig, that people may not be aware of. The task force that we put together with parent liaisons reaches parents in nearly half of the district's 50 schools in terms of having representative to be this task force liaison from that school. And I would encourage any parents who are out there right now in the audience on Zoom or see this later, if you're interested in either being that liaison for your school, if we don't have someone already, or you're just generally interested in supporting this effort, please reach out to Maud or myself. Our contact information is on the CEC website. Thank you.
Thank you. For the meeting that Gavin was alluding to, just where you can find it if you want to watch the recording, it's actually in 3 different places. You can choose any one. It's our YouTube channel, CECD2. It's also on our website, www.cecd2.net. If you go under past meetings, if you go into the meeting, it's actually the video is there. Also on there, if you look at, there's a menu on the menu on top, it says committees, and students with disabilities is one of the committees, and it's on that page as well. So any of those 3 places you can find the meeting. Okay, bylaws. Jessica, do you want to talk about it?
Thank you. So we brought this last time, and I guess the way this works is now we actually have an opportunity to vote on it. I'll briefly review again the point of this bylaw amendment. One of the main roles of council members is to vote on resolutions. Right now, attendance and presence at meetings is not tied at all to whether a member is present for voting per our bylaws, nor is there an opportunity to hold members accountable for their absence during voting, even if their absence consistently hampers the entire council's ability to vote on resolutions due to lack of quorum. This bylaw amendment seeks to remedy this problem by providing simply just clarity and a formal definition about what it means to attend a meeting so that there isn't impetus to abuse the loophole that currently exists. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Yeah. I would actually support this. The only thing that I'm concerned about is the voting, which I guess technically, I get what you're talking about, because we don't have a quorum, you can't vote. But if we have a quorum and someone's absent and they don't vote, then their vote doesn't count. My problem is that because these meetings have run quite long, and as we know, sometimes our votes don't take place till almost 10 o'clock. And there are many of us here that have some issues with that, particularly because we might have children. I mean, I actually have to administer some medication. My wife isn't capable of doing it. But, you know, there's issues that all of us have that we sometimes can't stay until the end of the meeting. I understand what you're saying about whether or not that's, you know, maybe some abuse taking place, but my only issue is that when you include present to voting, you're kind of saying that you have to stay till the very end of the meeting, basically, because that's when our voting is. So that's the only issue I have with this. Otherwise, I would support this.
Yeah, I'm gonna just piggyback and then you can comment because it's the same comment. I actually was getting to the same place. I'm okay with the hour. I think that's reasonable. Again, I also get what you're alluding to, Jessica. I get the concern. But what I do have an issue with is if somebody is sitting in this room for 3.5 hours and has to leave because they have to leave. We're all parents. You know, things happen. Then you're equating them with someone who isn't here at all. And I don't think that's fair. I would be supportive of the 1 hour portion. I don't know. I'm also like Len, a little bit uncomfortable with the you have to be here for the vote portion, because that concerns me a bit. And I get what you're saying. I get your concerns. I know it, but I think that could be abused in terms of excusing and trying to bump people off.
clarify, it's not therefore you are penalized, and saying you're just gonna be subject to the rules that would exist otherwise, and provide an excuse for a reason. It's essentially just holding us accountable. You can still be absent, we all have reasons we have to leave, and we included, and, you know, and it's an excuse, okay. That's the only.
I get that. Well, I get that, but who makes that decision? Does the president, whoever he or she may be, do they make that decision about what constitutes an actual excusable? Because to be honest, I don't necessarily have confidence one way or the other that a particular president might find one thing excusable and one thing not excusable.
I don't disagree with that personally, but that's the same thing I mean, this is literally just taking what's already there. If someone has a better suggestion, I mean, I would love, I'm not wedded to this. I would just like to try to find a way to help all of us be held a little more accountable.
Well, one suggestion would be to make sure the voting takes place a lot earlier, maybe by shortening the meeting somehow. But again, it's hard to do that.
Can I comment also?
We'll get Gavin and then Pri.
So, I mean, I hear all of this, but I keep going back to a meeting we had, I think, in August or September of 2023, this is months of our term, where we proposed an amendment to the bylaws for hybrid meetings. You know, precisely to deal with these kinds of issues. There are, council members who have, what children they need to, they need to assist. They have, some of us have elderly parents who also need care. And sometimes it makes sense if we have a quorum in person to have a few people who have those extenuating circumstances to be able to dive into the meeting and vote. And we try to provide a pathway for them, and the council rejected it. So I guess I'm hearing this, but I'm not really thinking that it's like I want to believe that is in good faith and concerned about the needs of the council members. But when we had an option for it, we had a way to accommodate everyone. So we could do our business as a council, do our service to the public, but at the same time take care of our families. And so, I think that this is a very reasonable proposal. We already have the grounds for excusal sitting in the bylaws. So I don't think this is really creating that much of an extra burden. I mean,
Pri.
Thanks. So I want to understand, we're saying that, for example, in 2 years, twice, once my nanny had to leave and once my child fell, and I had to immediately leave this building and telling only Craig, I have an emergency. And that would be the same thing as if I had an excuse, would be like documented. And at the time, I actually felt that maybe Craig should share it with everyone, but he said it's no one's business. This needs to be private. So it would be not counted that I am absent the entire time because my child fell and I have to leave, or because my nanny has to leave.
Yeah, that would be an excuse. That would be an excusable. No, that would be an excuse. Just right. I'm sorry. Let me. So I would deem that as an excusal. I don't know that whoever my successor would be would do it, but in theory, I would think the thing would be give you an excusal. I cannot guarantee that whoever my successor winds up being would do that, or the council in general.
Well,
I think, listen, again, we all have different issues, but when people created and learned nothing but respectful when I had to ask for an excuse absence, if I overshare why that's on me, but they have never shared, they didn't say I had twice, they COVID twice, and she went, again, like, I'm okay with that, but we should respect each other and no, if you have to leave because of an issue with your child or home or because someone didn't make macaroni and cheese for you, I don't even care. If the president says it's fine, we don't need to know for reason, you're excused. Like, we're adults. We're asking you to act like adults and professionally. If I walk out of my job and I just don't tell my boss why, maybe you can forget what it's like to have a boss, but your bosses, and if I just balance without saying, well, and I think there's gonna be a repercussion, and I think we deserve to show the same respect to the community and our colleagues. This is not a big ask. And again, I tell my boss, I gotta go because I gotta get, my payment grant. She might not tell everybody at work, but that's my sorry.
And exactly, and that is what happened, which was informed, but it made it seem that I think team members had made it seem like, oh, you just walked out. When I did notify, who's in charge.
If it doesn't apply, let it fly, guys. If we're talking about, if you don't have an excuse and you just leave, then there's an issue. But if you have an excuse, then let them know. I mean, it's basic adulting.
Sorry, the audience cannot, this is the business session. Unfortunately, we don't take comments now. No, we don't take comments. Thank you. So, okay. Anyway, do you want to say something?
Just again, I'm not sure, because I'm not sure. I thought Robert's rules may note that members or at a meeting are marked present at the attendance. So I don't know to what extent that is going to supersede the bylaws, which I think it would. So
No, actually, sorry, Sarah, let me comment because this will help you. So I actually did check with DOE legal, and this would be these would be acceptable according to DOE legal. I did check that out.
That's how it works. So we found out last month.
Okay. Any other comments? It sounds to me, I'm gonna say it, is that this will pass if you have just the hour piece. This will probably not pass if you include the whole thing. So Jessica, so I'm just trying to get some kind of compromise. Do you want to amend to try to get something passed? No, I understand that. Jessica, I'm trying to get something. I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm trying.
no, just remove the including during the voting.
Right, it would just be the 1 hour requirement.
I mean, take what
You have to stay for an
tonight.
hour. For an hour. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to speak.
Nothing.
I don't want to speak for, sorry, Jessica, I don't want to speak for the other council members, but that my sense is it would probably get passed. And my sense is it would not get passed with the whole thing. No, it would just be for the minimum of the hour.
You at least complain people stay here.
So it would, just number one would remain.
No, remove and including during the vote.
Right. No, it would be right, anything of and including during the voting on resolutions, right? So it would stop at minutes.
This.
I can't see. You're sorry.
Yes, we do.
Right. Just give us a second.
But you can tell people we stay there for an hour.
It's up to, I'm leaving it up to you. I mean, if you want to.
I'm just looking at the language now. It's 1 hour. It doesn't have to be like from 6 to 7. It's just 1 hour including the time of voting.
Yeah, I understand.
And then you say there.
That's what I think her Jessica's intent was.
Yeah.
You didn't make it half the meeting.
I want to remove the language that says and including during the voting on resolutions.
I don't want to speak for other council members. I suspect that if you remove that, this will get passed. That's what I'm saying.
You'll get my vote.
If the language around including during the voting on resolutions is removed and the requirement is only present for 1 hour.
That's my guess. That would be my guess.
I mean, I don't know. I'll vote for it.
I mean, I just want to say that attendance is important for voting. I mean, like, because we cannot vote if we do not have a quorum, but we can still have a meeting, have a certain presentation, have public comment. Without one, and we have. So I mean, it's really important.
She didn't leave. She's not leaving. She's just sorry. Bylaws.
Bylaws.
Yeah, it's report of committees bylaws.
I know.
Okay, so Jessica, sorry, I want to move this forward. What do you want to do?
I don't think there's any need past that, given that form.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion then? Jessica, you want to make a motion?
Sure, so I
Should we wait for Allison to come back?
Okay. So do you want to wait?
Yeah.
I will let you decide. Do you want to wait for Allison to return and we can just go to the next discussion, the first resolution, or do you want to go without her? I'll leave it up to you, Jessica. I'll give you all the power. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. She left. She had to leave. Is it right here a second? Okay. Want to take the vote?
Yes. I'll take.
Okay. I'm sorry. Did we have a second? Sorry. That second was Sony.
Wait.
Can you just make that formal? So the motion presently is the proposed bylaw revisions as included in the handout. Okay. Just for the record.
Yeah. This.
With no edits.
Is that one just right there?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I'll call people. Okay, pre-potpourri? No, pre-potpourri, no. Allison Bowen? Allison Bowen is not here. She's not here. She's here, but she steps in the restroom. She's in the restroom.
Should go to the.
Okay, Daniela Egoroff?
I'll vote yes.
Daniela Egoroff, yes. Gavin Healy? Gavin Healy, yes. Charles Love is not here. Maud Marin? Maud Marin is no. Sonal Patel? Sonal Patel is yes. Jessica Savage? Jessica Savage, yes. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg? Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg, yes. Sabina Serenise is not here. Leonard Silverman? Leonard Silverman is abstain, and Craig Slutskin is a no. And then we'll ask the student reps. Lila Jason? Oh, she left. Okay, sorry, I didn't see that. She's not here.
Okay.
Alexandra Stillman?
Yes.
Yes, Alexandra Stillman is a yes. The motion does not pass. It's 5-3 to 1, right? 5 to 3 to 1. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll move forward. So discussion of resolutions.
5, yeah.
Yep, 5-3 to 1. Right.
Oh,
that's
we
right.
have Allison.
Oh,
We need to ask her. Done. Oh, okay.
yeah,
So
it's
she's
fine.
absent.
She's absent.
Okay.
That's fine. Okay. Discussion of resolutions. We'll start off with resolution 272. Resolution to affirm CEC2 support of NYCPS's guidelines to support transgender and gender expansive students and rescind resolution 248. Does anybody wish to speak to the resolution? Gavin. Yes. I throw it. Reach.
Out of my seat, don't let me ask.
Don't hurt anybody's head.
They're already marked out.
I don't trust you with Alexandra. You know, I see the way you look at her. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so I've spoken about, rescinding resolution 48. I actually kind of lost track. But I've spoken about it many times, and I'm not done. I'll speak about it. I expected it will pass tonight. I don't think that is going to surprise anyone. But it'll be back next month, and I'll speak about it then. It'll be back in July, which will be a new term. We'll see with this subject. I mean, if I'm here and there are at least 2 other people who have sponsor it with me, we'll be here in July. And we'll keep trying. And eventually, we will see the resolution.
Do I need to call you Vanna?
Yes.
Thank you, Gavin. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak on the resolution? Okay. Oh, okay, Maud. Yeah, but do you want to unmute yourself? Because it helps to help people at home. Thank you. Oh, here, I'll promote you also. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So I just want to say that I've heard some of the same comments again and again and again. I think this marks 15 months of protesting a resolution that asked for a conversation. It asked for a review. The resolution that I wrote and that 8 members in this council voted for was content neutral. It said we should have a conversation about biological males in female sports. This is nothing specific to District 2, New York City, New York State. This conversation is happening all over our country. And I just want to say that the absolute false allegation that our community is comprised of mostly non-parents who sit in this audience. I recognize that there are parents and I'm glad that they come, but mostly non-parents led by a non-parent who is not a parent in this district, who raises money off of these activities and repeatedly disrupts the actual function and purpose of this meeting. Is something that has created an absolutely hostile environment to the young girls who I asked to include in this conversation, female athletes. The fact is, there were young female District 2 athletes at the June 2024 meeting who came to speak, and those young women were run out of the room by many of the people here and other activists who hummed and jeered and taunted. The activists in this room have been particularly vicious to lesbians, young and old, who have come up here. That laughter is, the laughter that I hear is so perfectly indicative of how hostile to gays and lesbians the trans movement has become. I will also say, with regard to creating a hostile environment for female students in District 2 and their parents, the elected leaders who wrote a letter to our council calling this resolution bigoted and calling us likely to cause harm by asking for a conversation have made this space absolutely impossible for young women who want to speak. Some of whom wouldn't agree with me, but do have very real concerns about the integrity of female sports. I know because I've spoken to those people. I've spoken to parents and I have spoken to students. The folks in here, the rudeness of people who interrupt is just so indicative of the disrespect of this movement. The fact of the matter is, this space has become deeply unfriendly and to young women who want to have the conversation, some of whom would not agree with me about everything, but who want to have a conversation about how female athletes can have female sports while also respecting their trans peers, some of whom they go to school with and some of whom they're really deeply concerned about. I know I've had those conversations with young women and with their parents. It should surprise nobody here that those young women, please stop interrupting. It's so rude. No young woman is
We're
going to feel
gonna let the
comfortable
council
here.
speak now. We're gonna let the council speak now. Thank you. If you want to speak in the public session, please speak in the second public session. You can sign up. Thank you.
And I will say to the young student who spoke about learning in biology about biological sex. Biological sex is binary. There is just no...
Okay, if you want to speak in this, if you want to speak, we can speak in the second public session. I welcome anybody to do it. Thank you. Go ahead.
It is entirely possible to have different views about how to accommodate athletes who have strongly different ideas about what a gender non-conforming or gender dysphoric young person should do when it comes to participating in sports, and to not engage in the pseudoscience nonsense that people can change sex, because they can't.
Okay, if you want to, okay, this is why the meetings go till 10 o'clock, to go to the end. If you want to speak, please, I welcome you. Please speak and sign up for the second public session and listen to you. Thank you.
I will
Perfect,
say
thank you.
one more thing, which is that at the beginning of this term, we are at the very close of this CEC term. At the very beginning of this term, I spoke with Allison Bowen about starting an academic affairs committee so that we could talk about an accelerated math program. And we met more than once with Kelly McGuire, with Superintendent McGuire and Deputy Superintendent Kelly Shannon. I did not ask for this conversation. The fact of the matter is, a 74 million reporter took private WhatsApps from a group that I had been in that was founded to talk about toddler masking. And it was a group of parents privately talking about our thoughts on a whole range of issues. And I said what I believe to be true. And I certainly have as many rights as any other American to have my opinions about what the trans ideology is doing with youth, and particularly how it can be harmful for gay youth and for autistic youth. I did not ask for the conversation, but to be clear, my private WhatsApp were published in a magazine, and folks on this council with me decided to bring a resolution that was not going to pass as written. Craig and Len, who have much more patience than I do, spoke with them about that resolution, offered modifications for how it could be passed. My resolution that I wrote was a response to the continual harassment I was getting with regard to the fact that my private and personal WhatsApp messages were published. I had this as a conversation. The fact remains, this passed 8-3. And while I respect all of my council members for speaking, for voting as they thought was appropriate, the chancellor at the time made it excessively clear that our non-binding advisory resolution was not going to be adopted. It ended there. And the fact that this resolution to rescind and the reaffirm resolution has been going on forever is doing nothing but creating an unsafe and hostile environment for young women who actually do want to have the conversation that I asked for. It's really ugly, and you should all be ashamed of yourself for engaging in it.
Jessica, thank you, because they can't hear me on Zoom, and I don't know if I'm gonna say anything good, but I would like to call out 2 points about professions that I actually am not part of, but I can at least do some basic reading. I know that you and your buddy over there who is running the country don't agree with the NIH, but I'm gonna agree with science. And I'm gonna say that although sex is typically misconceptualized as a binary, many other chromosomal arrangements, inherent variations in gene expression patterns, and hormone levels exist. Intersex categorizations include variations in chromosomes present, external genitalia, gonads, hormone. So whatever, it's not a binary. That's basic science. And you can have your own opinion, but your science is bad. Second. And bad science. Listen, I was raised by an immunologist. She has been gone for 18 years. I loved her very much. My mother was amazing and she was smart, and I could not let bad science stand. Second, you are an attorney and you know that you do not put anything in writing you don't want read in open court or in front of your boss. So I'm sorry. I am sorry. I think about that every day. I tell my children that every day. I hope we all keep that. You don't put anything in writing. You don't run red in open court. That's the risk you take. I'm sorry you put your stuff out there. Maybe try Signal. I hear you guys love that thing because it auto tweets. All right. So thanks.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
So let's.
I want to.
Okay, let's make it quick because it's almost 9 o'clock.
Okay, well, we had a very long
something over there. So I will take the time as well. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like something was missing in your accelerated biology course. But let me just say, this is, this is not a conversation that we're seeing in other community education. There's not a single other community education council in New York City that has passed a resolution like this, that has been introduced as a resolution. It is only CECD. It's only CECD. It happened in January 2024. Monster Liberty came to town. Some of the people in this room, were there as panelists. And then we got resolution 48. This was an astroturf, just ridiculous stuff that you brought to this country. You hurt our students. You put us in a swamp for media attention. And I mean, I think you owe us all an apology, you owe the students an apology, and I think that it's just a testament to the lack of respect that this council has had for the families. And I'm sorry, the election is over, so I'm sure someone will file a complaint against me again. But I just want to say that, a group called Place NYC endorsed 7 members of this council, and all 7 of them voted for that resolution to challenge the right of trans girls to participate in sports that coincide with their gender identity. All seven of the people endorsed by that group. So, I think we deserve better. I think our students deserve a lot better.
I'd like to, 1 minute then, I want to move forward. This is why the meeting's supposed to work.
I have been quiet the whole year that this resolution that we've been talking about. When resolution 240, I appreciate, Ma, that you brought up why put forth that resolution. When we came in that day, I want to highlight, when you read a resolution asking to have a meeting, a discussion, an open forum of any kind, I will vote for that because that's asking to have a discussion. And I don't feel there's anything wrong with that. And to say, I want to also highlight, since there's, the elections are over, that you're saying about reports against Gavin Neely, council member, cursed me out. And I privately, as we were walking out, having a discussion, and I wanted to be noted, because I stayed quiet, cursing after we have, we can have disagreements. I believe in professionally discussing, and everyone is allowed to disagree. But to say, I hope you die, to say that I hope you have, to say, for Gavin Healy to say, you're a piece of shit and scream at me 100 times while there was no one in the audience. And yet, yes, and there's evidence, there's cameras to prove that we're not, I'm having a discussion here, right? And I have stayed quiet and listened and listened and listened for you to go on and on every meeting because I respect.
Okay. We're gonna stop if we can't hear our speaker or our council members.
Because I respected the public forum. I understood that our job here is for anyone who wants to speak, and our job here is to listen. But for there to be times when you have put other council members down, you put me down, you put others, and yet when I have only given you respect, I have only understood and tried to understand every single resolution that was put forth. I did it in my capacity to understand to the best extent and not make it political, which I feel like you have at every opportunity use this to make it political. Thank you.
We're gonna move on.
Okay,
We're gonna move on. We're not talking about the resolution.
Like, someone also wants to say something and respond directly to a defamatory comment.
We really need, this is why we don't get a chance, we have 2 other resolutions that we need to speak about. We have to vote.
Okay, so let's be quick. First of all, I never said that about you, Pri. I did say that, so you were filming students in the audience. And you told me that you were filming them because some of the students lie and they are coached. And I said, and I was walking out of the room, Pri, and you followed me out of the room, yelling at me. And I'm Pri, I said you were full of shit. I didn't say you're a piece of shit. I said you're full of shit. But colloquialism, which means you're saying something really ridiculous and absurd. Okay? And let me just say that there are lots of subjects we do not have conversations about. Like, should this council introduce a resolution saying should students with disabilities be allowed to be educated in classrooms, in general education classrooms? Should this council pass a resolution saying, let's have a conversation about whether, Black kids have to sit on the back of the bus? Like, we don't have those conversations.
Okay, Sonal, and then we're gonna move to the next resolution.
If I introduce the resolution at next month meeting, asking for a conversation as to whether any child whose parents or family descended from the subcontinent of South Asia should or should not be allowed to attend public school in New York City. Would you vote yes to having that conversation?
Okay, we're gonna move forward. You don't have to answer that. We're gonna now discuss the next resolution. Resolution 273, resolution to amend Chancellor's Reg 8660 to mandate citywide PTA revenue sharing. Does anybody wish to speak to that? Daniela can start, and then we'll go over there.
I explain why I vote no for this resolution. Number one, the only thing that this resolution is gonna accomplish is make sure the donations to PTAs go to zero. So no one is gonna donate if they know that no one is gonna be shared. And second, if you think money is a problem in New York City public schools, I have reached this out to you. We are the #1 state and city in public funding for school. We are spending out $6,000 per kid. We're very efficient. That's the only area where we are #1. We're the most efficient public school system in the country. We produce mediocre results with the highest funding. The problem of the schools is not more money. That's not. The budget of New York City has only increased in absolute terms and per pupil terms forever. So the problem of New York City public schools is how the schools function. And that's why this resolution won't solve any problem, and it will only accomplish getting the donations to PTAs to zero.
Jessica? Oh, okay, I didn't see you, sorry. Go ahead, Jessica.
Yeah, so. Is that, okay, perfect. So kind of against that point, I do think that so sure, New York City public schools may be some of the best in the nation. However, I have worked with over 400 students in these schools, and I see discrepancies between schools with high amounts of PTA funding and low amounts of PTA funding, right? The premise of a New York City public school is that family income should not be a barrier to receiving a quality education. And I feel like PTA kind of, sure, like it's great that we have parent engagement in these schools, but if we were to more equitably distribute these resources, I think that we can contribute to a more equitable school system, because I've seen these
Jessica?
Thanks. Following up, piggybacking on what was just said, this is a complicated issue. Everybody understandably has a lot of strong feelings about it. I definitely don't have all the answers. Not pretending to, but I think most people would agree, or maybe some people could agree, that schools are not resourced all the same across the city. And I have to believe that there's a way to help more kids without taking anything away from other kids. This resolution is not suggesting we pool all PTA funds. I don't think that would be conceptually correct to do. It would negate the point of PTAs, and on a practical level, yes, that would probably gut participation and contribution. This resolution only suggesting we create a modest mechanism for sharing resources once a certain threshold is met, ensuring that all children, regardless of their neighborhood, have access to the basic supports for their learning and their development. It's not a zero-sum game. We could be talking about a difference spent on $1,
where those extra cents mean very little to welfare school and can make a dramatic difference to schools with much less. I think we're able to move the needle towards more equitable education for all kids without harming the excellence of any individual school. And if we actually are able to achieve that, and we're reflecting on it one day, I personally wanted to be on the right side of history when thinking about it, which is why I wanted to be part of this. I'm personally not sure if this is the best way to get to the solution we're looking for, but it is certainly a way to drive a conversation in the right direction that we should.
Yeah, okay. 1 second, again. One second. Do you want something? Okay. Have a good night. Sorry, just 1 second. Check it.
So I want to respond a little bit to, not really mentioned it, but CECD received numerous letters in opposition to this resolution and also numerous letters in support of this resolution. And I want to address a little bit of sort of the messaging and the fear mongering that I've seen that is sent around on a number of WhatsApp chats, a number of ways in which the opposition letter was distributed to families of District 2. This idea that if I give $500, maybe $100 to my school, and somewhere between 5 and 10 of that gets distributed to another school that is in more need, and then the fact that some other schools are gonna get $10 is gonna make me not give $100 at all, or completely leave the New York City school system, which is one of the examples that was given as to why people should oppose this. Not only will everyone stop giving, but everybody will leave the school system and say that it's a private school on $100. So, I think that there is some real value to this conversation, and again, because we're starting a conversation, I do hope you will vote for this resolution, in how to structure something more equitably. We are not talking about, I'm giving my school $100 and it's gonna end up in the Bronx. That is not it at all, and anybody with any intelligence would know that. We've also had some objections to legality. There is absolutely no objection, nothing that prevents one 501c3 from giving money to another 501c3. So we have received a beautiful email from a former council member, who I will not name, with so much misinformation, and I would encourage this community, everybody who is for or against this resolution, to really think about what the mechanism might look like, and that it is possible. Districts across the country do this. This is not some idea we pulled out of the masses to destroy District 2. This is something that is a move towards equity in public schools, and there are models, and there are ways in which this can happen without destroying anyone's morale, interest in school, ballet class, whatever the case is. This is just another form of trying to make Flagler Public Schools in District 2 equitable, and I am surprised at the messaging and the fear mongering and the resource sorting that I have seen all day long. This red herring fear that no one's
Let's go. Come on, go.
But I would also just point out that this conversation is a bit of a deja vu. We went through this on this particular council back in 2018. There was an extended back and forth of resolutions supporting and then refuting this idea. Then City Council member Mark Traeger, who is the head of the Education Committee, brought forth a bill in City Council about, in response to this discussion, to have because local community boards also took up the discussion, and they passed a bill in City Council to have reporting from PTAs, which did nothing but make volunteer parents have a more onerous job to have more details to report, didn't do anything to help raise more money or fully fund the extracurricular programs that PTAs fund. And that's because it's not legal to mandate redistribution of funds. PTAs are 501c3s, and they are constituted under New York state law. And if you give money to a 501c3 whose purpose is to support the extracurricular activities of School X can't turn around without a vote by that particular PTA to give money to another institution. It would violate the bylaws of that 501c3. Now, a 501c3 can choose to give money to another school. My children's elementary school did that when we supported the creation of a garden in a District 1 school that had the highest population of homeless students in that district. And that was a vote by the PTA, who the parents of that school elect, and it was properly constituted under the bylaws and the laws that govern the 501c3s in New York State. So that's already possible. The other thing that's possible is to take out your checkbooks and send a check to every school in the city that you think needs that extra $5 or $10. There's nothing stopping anyone from donating to the PTA of any school. There's no mechanism needed to give money to the schools that you think our individual schools in this district should be funding. It's not legal to compel 501c3s to give their money to other people. It's not practicable for the reasons other people have said. And this virtue signaling resolution has been done before, and all of these arguments have been heard before. I'm now going to read Councilmember Love's statement. The P in PTA stands for parents. If parents are volunteering their personal funds with the intent to help their kids' school, why should the government have a say in how those funds are spent? We already have tax funds specifically dedicated to assist economically disadvantaged students. Make the case to increase those funds if you like, but don't try to manage our families' incomes. People have the right to spend their personal funds as they see fit. This includes helping under-resourced communities. Why don't the sponsors of this resolution and their supporters donate to their PTA and a school in another community? Surely your PTAs are already doing this. Further, the letter we received from supporters of the resolution states, quote, once the certain threshold is met, end quote. Who gets to dictate this threshold? Finally, as with most of the resolutions proposed by these sponsors, I know this is fueled by emotion and therefore not well thought out. Therefore, I feel obligated to point out that the actions have consequences, and this would undoubtedly lead to people reducing, if not eliminating, what they donate to their PTA. While it is a wonderful thing to have compassion for all, this misguided resolution must be defeated like all other proposals designed to put other students' needs ahead of D2 students. Our purview is solely D2, and there is no logical way that taking money from D2 students by force would be beneficial to D2 students.
Okay. Thank you, Mon. I know Lynn wants to speak. Just one comment I want to make before Lynn speaks. Thank you. We did receive a lot of letters, a lot of emails on this subject, and I want to thank everybody who took the time to send the letter. We do appreciate it. No matter which way you feel on this, we do appreciate getting the feedback. There was, and this is not exact amounts, but it's roughly, because there were people who were still sending tonight, about 50 emails in support and about 500 against, just so people have a sense. Roughly, and it may be a little bit off, but it's roughly that number. Len, I know you want to say something.
So I would like to congratulate the sponsors of this particular resolution, number 273, for having the brilliance and courage to wait until after the CC elections to bring this resolution. Because I am sure that the PTA, Parents Associations of the School of the Future, Lab Middle, PS6, and Clinton, and not to mention our student representatives, Hunter College and Clinton, would love to have known these opinions and that this resolution was being sponsored in the first part. So I'm curious, and I will leave this as a rhetorical question, which maybe can be answered later, as to whether or not the sponsors of this resolution discussed this with the parents' associations of their respective schools before they brought this resolution. Now, I also want to say I would like to congratulate Councilmember Healy for amazing me tonight, because in his introductory remarks of this resolution, he specifically said this resolution is about, quote, starting a conversation. Where have I heard that language before? I heard it in Resolution 248, now we hear it tonight.
So I just want to point that out to you people in the audience. I think you should know that. Now, why am I qualified to speak on this resolution? I'm qualified to speak on this resolution for a couple reasons. One, I know about PTAs. I know about parents associations because I served 6 years on parents associations. Probably starting my involvement long before the children were born of a number of members of the sponsors of this resolution. I served 4 years as a PTA president. I served 1 year as a PTA vice president. I served as a grade rep. But that's not why I'm qualified to speak on this resolution. I'm qualified to speak on this resolution because I was there for 10 annual auctions. I was there for fundraisers, bake sales, pie drives, every single type of fundraiser you can imagine at those respective schools. So I know how hard it is to raise money for a respective school. And let me tell you something. When you are a parents association member, whether you are specifically if you're on the board of a parents association, you are constantly trying to raise money. You are constantly trying to engage the parents of your school. And what the sponsors of this resolution don't understand is that money that is raised by parents is specifically tailored to specific programs in an individual school. So whether it's teaching assistants, whether it's computers that might be needed, whether it's a lab, a project, whatever it is at a specific school, that is the appeal. And you have to work very hard. It is a nonstop job to try to raise money from parents. It is not easy. It is not easy. And let me tell you something. The funds raised by parents associations, this is the fundamental misconception that the sponsors of this resolution have. They equate the money raised by parents associations at schools in our district as a sign of affluence. It is not a sign of affluence. It is a sign of parent engagement. And the schools that raise the most money actually have the parents who are most engaged. That is a fact. You may not, and it's true. Yes, it is true. And I've attended, my kids have attended 6 different schools in this district. And it runs the gamut. Some of those PTAs, I had a student PS6. We have a member here, I believe, has a student PS6. They raised a lot of money. Yes, they raised a lot of money. I was at other schools that didn't raise much money, but it was always a struggle to raise that money and tailor it to individual programs. Now you go to parents and you tell them an annual drive, well, you know what? We're raising money, but a percentage or portion, it doesn't matter whether it's $5, $10. The point is the parents are donating because they know that money is going to be targeted for their specific school and is going to benefit their specific children. And I'm sorry people disagree with that, but that's a fact. And as Craig said, as Councilmember Slutskin said, that's the reality. Okay, if people want to contribute or donate to other schools, make it optional. There's nothing preventing people from writing checks to other schools. Maybe the DOE should have a website saying which schools need more money. But as Councilmember Agarwal pointed out, it's not the money. That's the thing. We get into this crazy thinking. We think, oh, it's all about money. We get organized around things. Oh, war on poverty, war on drugs. Let's spend more money. Well, Councilmember Agarwal told you we spend $36,000 a year for students in public schools in New York. Are you seeing the results? Are you seeing the results? And I'll tell you, it's not because of the money. The money is not the special sauce that makes schools in District 2 special. Yes, it's the leadership of the district. I'll give Kelly McGuire some credit for this. It is the teachers in the district. I'll give the teachers credit, but it is mostly what counts the most is the parents who are engaged, the people who go home and read with their children, who engage their children every single night and tell their children, work with their homework. That is the #1 special sauce that makes a good school. And that's it. So if you think money is the thing that's going to be this magic sauce, and let's fall into this ideology, well, let's take it away from some people, and that makes one school so much better because they have resources. It's not true. So I am opposing this resolution for many reasons. And this is a chilling effect. First of all, this resolution is, of course, like all of our resolutions, except for zoning. It is just an advisory opinion. But I do think it sends a chilling message. And I remember a number of years ago, and I also might want to say, I served 6 years on the District 2 President's Council, 5 years as the co-president of that organization, which was made up of the PTA presidents and or their designated representatives for the 48 schools we have in this district. So I know a little bit about this topic. It is always a struggle to raise money. We want that money designated. Parents want that money designated for their specific schools. That's the reality. Stop dividing people. Stop saying it's all about privilege and that privilege and money is what's making the difference here. It's not money. You can throw Title I money. You can throw all sorts of money at the problem. It's never going to make up for that parent who engages with their child, puts the time and the effort in, spends the effort for that. And that's what really makes the difference. So I'm voting against this reason.
Okay, so I have a couple of comments. First of all, to Jessica, to your point that this is starting a conversation, I can appreciate starting a conversation. This is an important conversation to have, how we fund our schools and how we fund our extracurricular activities. I think it's a very good, very good thing to discuss. However, the resolution calls for a mandate, so that's not a conversation. The problems that I mean, I have several problems, and I agree with Len and I agree with Maud on this, but there's not necessarily accountability. If I'm giving money to my PTA, I go to my PTA meetings, I look at the budget, I have the right to express my opinion about the budget, where the money is being spent. Is it spent on teachers, or is it spent on professional development for the teachers? Is it spent on events, or is it what have you, or is it event on, is it speakers for the students or for the kids? I have the right to give my opinion on that. I have the right to vote for that. I have the right to vote against it. If this money goes to another school, I'm giving money, but there's no accountability that I know of. I have no knowledge that it's not going to teacher appreciation breakfast or parent appreciation breakfast. I have no idea. The other thing I will say is I do resent the comment that I think it was Sonal that made, that, if you're giving $100, you don't want to, you can give $5 of it. You don't want to talk to people. You don't want to be in the room with people who would have a problem with that. That assumes that we're not giving money to other places. Yes, I give money to my PTA and I raise money for my PTA. I raise a lot of money from a foundation to give to my PTA, and I work hard for that. That being said, I'm sorry, I think there's no sound. There is. That being said, I also give to museums so they can open up their doors for free to students. I give, okay, well, I give money to cancer research. I give money to ALS research, okay? So I give money to a lot of other things. So just because this money isn't going to other schools doesn't mean this money, my dollars that I work hard for aren't going to other very good causes. Thank you. Any other, Pri, you want to speak?
That therefore it be resolved, this is asking to amend the chancellor's regulation, A660, and it's not asking for a conversation. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion on this? Or can we move?
I don't know if I can speak for everybody. I would be fine with amending it so it was a conversation or some word other than mandate. I think we're all expressing that the intent of this, everybody to have a conversation that is apparently and understandably very deeply personal to everybody here who just wants the best for their kids, and hopefully also to uplift the entire community in one way or another and not be afraid of that conversation. Although I'm afraid of that word at the moment. But I'm hearing that we could amend
Okay.
it.
So what exactly, you have to give me the language. What do you want to change in the language, please? You're making the motion, so you tell me what words. She started, yes, she said she's gonna make a motion. Oh, did you not say that? Sorry.
Yes, I am making a motion to change the word mandate to X.
To what?
To blank. If there is a word that makes people more comfortable, please is suggesting the word, specifically calling out the word mandate, which I have no problem with, but that's, if there's a word that.
Yeah, you have, okay, so we're still in a conversation then, so you have to make a motion, you have to give me the words, you have to tell me what you want to change. Okay, we're not in public session, and if the way we're going, it's gonna be a very quick one, so. Okay,
Amend for mandate to suggest.
okay, so just to summarize, to reiterate, Jessica is making a motion to amend the resolution to change the word. I'm sorry, looking for this, in the last paragraph, the therefore, from mandate to suggest, you said?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second? So, just to reiterate, last paragraph. We'll have to get a second.
Oh, yeah, okay, there's a
Second. To change the word in the last therefore, from mandate to suggest.
Suggest sharing. Yep. A62 suggest sharing.
So.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so you take out the word mandate and equitable and change it with suggest. Is that?
To suggest sharing.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay, second is Sarah. Is there discussion on the motion?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a point of
Hold on.
inquiry, we're keeping in, including establishing a minimum percentage to be pooled once the school's PTA revenue pass a minimum threshold.
What is the minimum? Do they have a number?
It's still asking for a man.
If that's, I don't feel comfortable talking for
If that's
everybody,
the
but if that's
sticking point, then fine.
No, it's not. That's not.
Okay.
No, we're not.
Okay, so then let me happen. So
It doesn't matter to me how this is
Yeah,
amended, because
it's-
it talks about substantial disparities in fundraising. Yes, there are some PTAs that are very good at fundraising, that have really great engagement. There are others that are not good at engagement, for lots of reasons. So because of that, I would oppose the about it.
Okay, are you withdrawing your motion, Jessica? I don't.
I mean, I would love to hear how everybody. I know.
Okay. Are there any other comments on the motion to amend? Okay, so we have a motion to amend. It would be taking out the word mandate and equitable and change it with suggest. No more discussion. We have it seconded. Let's take it to a vote. Okay,
72, right?
this is just to amend.
Amend.
This is just amending it. Okay, I will read out the names for you.
Thank you.
Okay, Pri Boparai. Yes.
And the resolution.
Pri Boparai, yes. Allison Bowen. Allison Bowen, no. Daniela Egorov.
Yes.
Daniela Egorov, yes. Gavin Healy. Gavin Healy, yes. Maud Marin. Maud Marin, no. Sonal Patel. Sonal Patel, yes. Jessica Savage. Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. Jessica Savage, yes. If you can speak up, because I can't hear everybody. Sorry. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg, yes. Len Silverman.
No.
Len Silverman, no. Craig Slutskin is a no. So it loses, the motion does not pass. 6-4. Right? Yeah, that's 6.
Yes, 6.
6-4. And as a reminder, you need 7. It's not a majority. You need 7 to pass. Okay. So we will now go to the discussion of the last resolution, 274, resolution to condemn the Office of Family and Community Engagement faces management of the Community Education Council elections and to demand an immediate review and reform of election process. Does anyone wish to speak on this? Sarah, I think you want to speak. She has, that's fine. I want to get it passed.
the election process. And again, you know, politics moves strange bedfellows and thanks CCHS starting following on this. I'd like this resolution, sorry. There we go. I would like, ask an amendment, I'd like to make a motion to make some amendments.
Yeah.
And then I would be just put this, in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, whereas on the first page, I would like to remove, where it says, as well as in some elections, an unreasonable amount of candidates apply, making overly burdensome on voters to vote in the informed manner. I think you made a very good point, good speaker, that I truly do want more engagement, but we want people to be engaged in a way that is supportive. So changing that to be, and say little to no understanding of the responsibility of council members. FACE provided little to no support or direct development of candidates newer to the CEC election process. So yes, there are a lot of like sort of, oh, come to this or come to that, but like you really direct reach out. If they can reach out to voters, 500 robocalls, they can have these really great supports for people to get involved. I would also request a change on the last whereas in the first page, removing the part where it says allowing various violations of rules by candidates without interruption from FACE, and amending that to FACE did not provide proper oversight to the candidate forums, as the FACE representative duty was either passive or left prematurely, and a removal of footnote 3. I don't think it really adds a lot because it's perception versus facts. All the other facts just seemed really on the money. And again, this is a strange thing to say, but thank you, Daniela, for the presentation at the CCH meeting where you mentioned something about the cost per vote. That was stunning. So thank you very much for that information that you shared. So those are the amendments.
That was not me.
No, I feel like you were fired. I don't know. That was your mean man. Whatever. There's a lot of good info on that. So thank you to CCHS for that.
Clarify.
Sure.
I'm confused about the 5th, whereas what, I thought we're crossing out the whole thing.
No, I think that the disproportionate amount of effort and energy was directed by FACE toward increasing the number. I don't know if it was this one. Yeah, I guess in the word disproportionate, a large amount of effort of energy. Maybe it's not disproportionate. So I think it's it wasn't used well. So I'm not saying it was disproportionate, it just wasn't used well. Large amount of effort and energy was directed by FACE toward increasing the number of candidates, leading many candidates and had little to no understanding of the responsibilities of council members. FACE provided little to no support or direct development of candidates new to the CEC election process. I think that is a fair statement. If you're comfortable with it, I'd like to.
So what is that? What instead of disproportionate, what?
A large.
Significant?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Significant. Oh, this
That's
is the
the
first page.
Here.
Here, you can see my terrible notes. You want to see what it is?
Significant is fine.
Significant.
Yeah.
Where does it stop?
Right.
Is this the only one? No.
There's a couple more.
Okay.
That was it. And then the stuff on 3. Removing the last one, where we remove allowing various violations or rules by candidates without interruption from the FACE representative, and change it to FACE did not provide proper oversight in the candidate forums, as the FACE representative duty who was either passive or left prematurely, with removal of the 3rd footnote. All right, I'm comfortable with those changes if that's possible.
Okay, can you give me a copy of those changes?
Yeah.
Just
Sorry,
because
I'm
I
so
didn't,
sorry.
no, that's fine. And
Can you just-
I can read your handwriting.
Can you just reread out?
Okay. So you're making a motion to amend. Okay, we'll go through the discussion in a second. But just to reiterate, just to summarize, there was a motion to amend, which I am going to second. I'm supportive of this. There is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. The 5th whereas, we're changing the ending to reflect that FACE provided little to no support or direct development of candidates newer to the CEC election process. On the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th whereas, which is the last whereas on the first page, we're taking out allowing various violations of the rules by candidates without interruption from the FACE. We're just going to say as the FACE did not provide proper oversight in the candidate forums, as the FACE representative on duty was either passive or left prematurely. And we're taking out the third footnote. I think that's it. Okay, I am going to second that. Is there any discussion of this amendment? Of this proposed, sorry, motion to amend? Can we take it to a vote? Okay, sorry, Preet Bopper,
Second motion.
I did. Preet Bopper, yes. Allison Bowen? Allison Bowen, yes. Daniela Egorov? Daniela Egorov, no. Gavin Healy? Gavin Healy, yes. Charles Love is out. Maud Maron? Maud Maron, no. Sonal Patel? Sonal Patel, yes. Jessica Savage? Jessica Savage, yes. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg? Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg, yes. Leonard Silverman?
Yes.
Leonard Silverman, yes. Greg Slupkin, yes. So that passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-2. Passes. Okay. Are there any, are there any, we'll try to very quickly. Are there any discussion? Is there any further discussion on this resolution? Hopefully we can move forward. Okay. Okay, so we are finished with discussing resolutions. We now have the second public speaker session. We have 17 people. It is 9
minutes.
We have 9:30. It's 9:30 already. We have to vote on, we have the minutes. We have the business meeting, which we do have a couple of things we need to talk about. And we have the votes.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
Yeah, I agree.
You gotta give people 15 seconds.
I second.
Okay, so there's a second, just discussion. I would not suspend it completely. I would just limit it. You wanna?
Yeah, I don't think you can suspend the second public speaking session because it's in the agenda and it's in the minutes.
So my suggestion is we do
15 seconds.
30 seconds.
You're not gonna make it.
We have to be, we have,
the 9:40.
sorry.
You have 15 minutes.
What do you folks want? What do you folks suggest? Because we have to be out, and I can't start packing up at 10. I just can't, that's fine. With that 17, that's 9:48. That gives us to 9:48 if everybody stays to the minute. And that's not gonna happen, Gavin. So we don't have time for a full minute. I just think, sorry, we just don't. Okay. 30 seconds?
No, it's gotta be 30. You can't go more than 30. That's probably too late.
Can't vote. Either we vote or we
Okay.
have public speaking.
Either we vote, okay.
Vote. Let's vote.
Okay. So I think people want to speak, and we told them, I said before, people will have the opportunity to speak. Can we do
30 seconds?
Can we do 30 seconds? But you have to stick to 30 seconds.
Just come on, the more we
Come on.
talk, the longer it's taking.
We have to be out. We can't be out.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, is that 30 seconds okay?
30 seconds.
Pass.
I'm not asking, can we agree to 30 seconds, please?
We just do 30.
And if you guys agree, then. Yeah, we're asking you.
I'm asking your opinion, but I'd like to. Okay, we'll do 30 seconds. We'll do 30 seconds.
Let's go.
Okay.
All right, here we go. All right, let's go quick. All right. Annabelle Ruggiero, come on, let's go. Tell us what you want. Tell us quick.
Wait, hold on. We agreed to do students first, though.
Oh, students first, I'm sorry. So, we have Mark we have Mark Pazanesi. All right. I don't see any other students that are listed here. Is Mark here? That's the only student that's listed. All right, so Annabelle Ruggiero. Oh, Mark's here. All right, let's go, Mark. All right.
Let's go.
If you can't, honestly, we'll have to come back to you if you're not ready. So, Annabelle, why don't you go? Well, let Annabelle go first. And then you.
So, yeah, I'll keep this relatively short, I'm sure you might have me. First, I want to say, yes, I'm not a student. I am not generally involved with the CECD2 schools. But there's a reason why I'm here. The reason why I'm here is because before I served with these meetings, you want to know who was bullied out of these meetings? The trans students in your fucking schools. But let me, I want to follow up on my friend's invocation of Jews in the Holocaust. There's no need for it, because we talk about trans people in the Holocaust. From the Museum of Jewish Heritage, For 1933, Germany was
Okay, that's it.
LGBT plus
Okay.
culture
Second
with
cell.
several renowned organizations serving as well as trans people.
Okay.
This shit, 248 is a Nazi shit.
All right, let's get, Mark, you're up. They would have Joe.
Thank you to know that's their meeting, I don't want to speak again, but here we go. Mod, you are part of a neo-Nazi organization known as National Liberty. There is no neo-Nazi organization. Mod, you spent 42 minutes yapping about unrelated bullshit during this session, which has caused every time for your nonsense. You do not represent anyone in this city. No one knows why you're. And I gotta tell you, y'all cannot let, that's silence people like this. No,
Thank you.
this is not New York.
Next speaker is Joe Vitale, is gonna be followed by Kerry. Let's go. Joe Vitale, please. And then we're gonna carry.
You guys will from the first session, I'm gonna speak quickly because of time restrictions, and I've heard proposed biological males competing with females in school sports. Superintendent McGuire does not care about math. He also sides with people using the pronoun they to denote just a single person. So just basic math indicates 1 + 1 = 2, 1 + 0 = 1. So Superintendent McGuire, if you do not comply, he's citing somewhere back there. If you do not comply with the executive order, that his biological males should not compete.
Okay, that's time.
With girls in sport.
Joe, that's
You
it.
do not dollars, very top class.
Time's up, thank you. Kerry, please, Kerry, and then we're gonna have Achilles, and then it looks like Amaya please. Kerry?
Yes, I think it's important to say to the camera that I find it really rich that you would berate the superintendent because he's not listening to you about math and then bring up your academic affairs meetings, one of two of which I went to, and only heard from a trans person about how they can orgasm. The word math did not come up one time. If I was superintendent, I would be one that's that. I really just want to voice my gratitude to the four of you. I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Achilles, we're gonna have Achilles followed by Amaya Perez.
I think Achilles left. Achilles, I think.
Okay, so, Amaya Perez followed by Sawyer R.
State of where I think a transfer support and with District 2, I am first and foremost a New Yorker. And New York is one of the most amazing cities on the world. I came back from DC this weekend, and I can say New York is the only city that can play both Jay-Z and Timothy Chalamet as one of the top. And one of the things that New York stands for is diversity and freedom and survival. You know, it says you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, but one of the reasons why it was all of the people accepted like resolution 248 is because it can happen here, it can happen anywhere, and therefore it's not what happens. If it happens anywhere,
Thank you very much. Sawyer R is gonna be followed by Juan Batista.
Hi, these are just for you guys. Can I come up and give you? Okay.
Good, next one.
Let's out. Okay, then, so we're gonna have, Vaughn Batista followed by Abby Buckmeyer.
Okay, I mean, it's quick, it's clear we don't have enough time. Thanks for that, guys. I spent 4 hours waiting to talk for 2 minutes, but I guess that's not gonna happen. Thank you, Allison Bowman, for leaving very conveniently during the time of the vote. And Lord Mayor, I would really like to tell you, I would like to just say that imagine 50 years from now, when I believe that trans people will gain a liberation that they deserve, and we will be telling our kids and our children's children, hey, what was it like to fight in that period? There will be movies made about this time, and Mom, I have a feeling you're not going to be a hero. Thank you.
Well, we have, Abby Buckmeyer and then Heather, it looks like Heather Mana. And then we're gonna have, it looks like Michael Lowe.
Cool, I wrote a whole thing, but I'll make it quick. Hi, I'm Abby, I'm a lesbian and I like trans people. Really, my former global student female athlete, and it's like being a trans child athlete doesn't make you a sports speaks, it makes you a child, and children in District 2 and children of your larger conversation should be allowed to access the resources of their school, including sports. I was able to play sports at the sports and training people now, and then we get Craig, you're part of. So you try to stand up for the people that are doing things.
Heather?
Hi, Mom, regardless of your opinion, the court reviews on any topic, rolling your eyes at students is unacceptable. The least you can do as a representative is fix your case. When someone associates with me, I can understand how you've already been removed from this council once, as well as other notable institutions.
Now we can have Michael Lowe and then Steve Stowe.
I was excited to see you animated and never see you like present. So it's nice to hear that. If you can do this job professionally and seriously as adults, you should step aside so that people who care about our children can. I'll just ask you 3 questions. ¿Cuál es el propósito de la educación pública? ¿Cuál es el propósito del Consejo de Educación Comunitaria, which you're serving on? And cuáles son las características de un representativo eficaz? If you don't know what the purpose of public education is, you don't know what the purpose of the CEC is, and you don't know what would make a good CEC representative, you shouldn't be there.
Hello, CEC2. Pleasure to be here. I'm Steve Stowe, CEC20 president. Now there are at least 4 districts in the city that offer geometry in middle school, and 24% of middle schools in the country offer geometry in middle school. The world is changing. Technology leads that change. Technology is based on math. AI is a fundamental technology creating generational change in how we work and process information. If we accelerate artificial intelligence, it is crucial that we accelerate human intelligence alongside it. If we do not, we leave vast swaths of our population and society behind. The world will move on regardless of what DQ does. Keep up the good fight until Superintendent McGuire offers truly accelerated math education, which is geometry and middle school. Thank you.
Okay, good. This is from Dr. Joshua B. Sager. A person's genetic makeup, internal and external reproductive anatomy are not useful indicators of athletic performance. So if we're really talking about girls in sports, which of course includes handball, that's what we're talking about. A lot of people are doing equivalencies of like, what about juju, what about blah, blah. Many autistic people are also trans, so if you care about autistic students, you have to care about trans students. We talk about that we don't use hate language on this side every year, but if like your comfort was not outweigh someone else's safety, and so is hateful language when you deny that trans people deserve to be respected.
Thank you. Now we're gonna have Holly Siegel followed by a lot of things.
Thanks. Man, you've got to work on your empathy, because that's what this all comes down to. Rich schools will still get to keep their money that they raise. They're just gonna also kick a little bit over to the school that doesn't get to go on school trips and doesn't have adequate resources. It's just recognizing that that keeps getting like the shit down the road. Secondly, Mike Berger
and math. He is so good at it. He is absolutely someone on that you would be desperate to move into a segregated classroom. That is the word, not segregated. But I don't let that happen because he is being challenged. He is being challenged with the gift of empathy. And if you're really doesn't try to, not the school.
Hi, everybody. So I've been to every CECD meeting for 16 months now, and there's something I noticed different about tonight, besides the fact that we're live here. And it's the fact that the AD system works, and that we're sitting at a beautiful auditorium. And so I wasn't talking about money up here tonight. We were debating how to spend it. Every kid, every school knows an auditorium looks like this. Every CECD2 meeting should have AD that works. And yet somehow, in the richest city, in the richest district, in the richest city, in the richest country, in the history of the world, we can somehow find the ability to pay for 5 pops. Love y'all, but like, we can find the ability to pay for 5 pops, 1 person food face, and no AD equipment. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I love to be on the council, I love this becoming all gone. So we can move money from there into active caring for kids. Thank you all. Sorry about that.
New York City Public Schools recently published a survey to understand why families either left the public school system or have decided to not even enter. The number one reason cited by 41% of those surveys said they want a more rigorous education than what their kids can get here. So for the families who can't leave our public schools, we need to deliver for them. Students in our schools are assessed regularly in class, and we know we have students who are 1 to 2 to even 3 grades ahead. These students are ready and deserve to be challenged and not to be bored in class. I urge CECD2 to continue to advocate for accelerated math in our public schools. Thank you.
Thank you. And our last speaker is Lieutenant Santiago.
Hey, Maud, it's lovely to see you here. It was shocking to hear you speak tonight after the last several months. I have 2 quick comments to make. Your comment about how the trans community is rude to lesbians was hysterical. There are so many of us gay people here who are supporting our trans siblings. The comment that trans activists made these meetings unsafe for young women, meaning cis students at CEC. I'll say the only thing that made students unsafe were these camera crews repeatedly asked to stop filming students, and the cameras would not comply.
So you get them on. Thank you. Now we're going to vote on resolution. We're going to start off on resolution. Sorry, let's get through this. Resolution 272, resolution to affirm CECD2 support NYCES's guidelines to support transgender and gender expensive students and rescind resolution 248. Can I get a motion? I'll make a motion. Second is Lanzone. Take it to a vote. Free vote for aye. No, free vote for aye, no. Allison Bowen. Allison Bowen, no. Danielle Egro. Danielle Egro, no. Gavin Healy. Gavin Healy, yes. Charles Bowen. Maud Maron. Maud Maron is no. Solon Patel. Solon Patel is yes. Jessica Savage. Jessica Savage is yes. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg is yes. Leonard Silverman. Leonard Silverman is abstained. Grace Hudson is abstained. We're going to go to resolution 273, resolution to amend Chancellor's Regulation A660 to mandate citywide PA/PTA revenue sharing. I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second is Gavin Healy. We'll take it to a vote. Pre-vote for aye. Pre-vote for aye is a no. Allison Bowen. Allison Bowen is a no. Danielle Egron. Danielle Egron is a no. Gavin Healy. Gavin Healy is a yes. One now. One now is a no. Solon Patel.
Sonal Patel is a yes. Jessica Savage. Jessica Savage, I think, is a yes. I didn't hear you. You assume it's a yes. Sarah Schechter-Ehrenberg. Sarah Schechter-Ehrenberg is a yes. Leonard Silverman. Leonard Silverman is a no. Craig Sussman is a no. Motion does not pass by a score of 4-6. Resolution 274, resolution to condemn the Office of Family and Community Engagement Basis Management of the Community Education Council elections and to demand an immediate review and reform of the election process. As amended. As amended. I know a few things. I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second is Jessica. Okay, take it to a vote. Primo Barai. Primo Barai is a yes. Allison Bowen. Allison Bowen is a yes. Danielle Egro. Danielle Egro is a yes. Gavin Healy. Gavin Healy is abstained. Maud Maron. Maud Maron is a yes. Sonal Patel. Sonal Patel is abstained. Jessica Savage. Jessica Savage is a yes. Sarah Schechter-Ehrenberg. Sarah Schechter-Ehrenberg is a yes. Leonard Silverman. Leonard Silverman is a yes. Craig Sussman is a yes. Motion passes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-2. Okay, we're gonna go to approval of the minutes. Can I bundle them? We'll take a vote and then, okay. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the January 15th, February 26th, March 19th, and April 23rd minutes. Do I have a second? Second is Danielle Egro. Is there a discussion? Okay, no discussion. We'll take it to a vote. Primo Barai. Primo Barai is a yes. Allison Bowen. Allison Bowen is a yes. Danielle Egro. Danielle Egro is a yes. Gavin Healy. Gavin Healy is a no. Maud Maron. Maud Maron is a yes. Sonal Patel. Sonal Patel is a no. Jessica Savage. Jessica Savage is abstained. Sarah Schechter-Ehrenberg. Sarah Schechter-Ehrenberg is a no. Leonard Silverman. Leonard Silverman is a yes. Craig Sussman is a yes. Motion does not pass. 6-3-1. New business.
Yes, very quickly, I want to congratulate, I know you left, but I want to congratulate Representative Nicole, and it's amazing knowledge of not being able to report, but one of them was wearing a t-shirt, or sweatshirt, with the name of the school on, congratulations to Nicole. I know they worked really hard, it's not easy.
Thank you. Okay, and no, I'm hoping no new business. Okay, can we vote, can we adjourn by acclamation? Okay, thank you. We'll go very quickly for working business meeting. Take a roll call. Primo Barai. Primo Barai is here. Allison Bowen. Here, Danielle Egro. Gavin Healy. Gavin Healy is here. Maud Maron. Charles Lovers is excused. Sonal Patel. Sonal Patel is here. Jessica Savage. Jessica Savage is here. Sarah Schechter-Ehrenberg. Sarah Schechter-Ehrenberg is here. Sabina Sarah is excused. Leonard Silverman is here. Craig Sussman is here. We have a quorum. On the treasury report, we have money, but I really do want to get everybody to submit your expenses. I've approved a bunch of them in the past couple of weeks, but let's not wait till the last minute because you never know. So please get them in the next couple of weeks. If you need a couple of weeks or so, if you need any help, please contact Victor. I've been trying to be quick about turning around my approvals. We have a bunch of things for you to sign. Okay. Any school liaison updates? Any new business? Okay, adjourned by acclamation. Thank you, everybody. Meeting is adjourned. Good night, everybody at home. Thank you, everyone.